Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. To the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zack. Welcome to another Starbase weekly live stream. Happy to be here with y'all this week. This is the first first episode after Flight 13. So tons to cover this week. We got a flyover the day of. Actually, technically, we received a flyover on the day of the abort, which was about a week ago Friday. And then he also got up there again for Flight 13 and also flew again the next day, not only to get aftermath shots, but also to be able to fly over some of the sites that he wasn't able to the day before. So tons to cover today. Got a full cast joining me today as well, which is awesome. We got BJ with us. I don't think BJ's been on here with me for quite a while, so good to see you, BJ.
Yeah, glad to be here, Zach. Yeah, it's been quite a bit. I was on with Stephanie recently, but I had a little bit of a hiatus this spring, a lot of other things going on, but glad to be here and talk Flight 13 and a lot of stuff going on around all the sites this week, so lots to talk about.
For sure. Definitely. Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of your vacation. I think I need one. We also have Alex joining us today. Alex, thanks for being here.
No problem. Glad to be here. Hello, BJ. Should be a fun show, like usual.
Agreed. And I think we have, I don't know if I saw him drop in here, Ryan. Oh, yeah, he is here. Ryan Hansen Space joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here. I know we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. We got Flight 13, and then we've got some other stuff around the site as well to dig into. So I'm excited to look at all the photos today.
Okay, I'm seeing people in the audience saying that I am sounding robotic.
Yeah, you're having a little bit of robot and sped up and slow down on your voice, but only you.
Well, let me try and close out of some things, even though I don't really think I have anything else open. Hopefully that improves. I'll just keep an eye on the chat. Let me know if it is gets unbearable, and then we'll try and figure something out.
Will do.
Cool. Yeah. So, like I said, starting off with the day of Flight 13, I'm always glad when Mauricio was able to get up there and get images during the actual uh, launch day, which is really awesome. So, yeah, as y'all can see here, he was up there um, right from this basically the start of prop load. So, great timing on that. And I'm hoping these are going to be in order because um, I would like to scroll through them in order, obviously, instead of like end up all the way at the end. Okay, yeah. Hopefully, if I go the other direction, there we go. So yeah, like I said, really cool being able to capture all of prop load from the air, which is uh, not always easy to do. Getting up there in the first place, especially having Trent flown the week before as well too. So really cool being able to see all of this from above. And I have a lot of questions for Alex actually now that he's here because I've been meaning to ask him, but I think we may have to wait on some of this until we get to the actual launch site. But there's a lot of changes that happened since Flight 12 that I guess have become a little bit more obvious over the past few weeks, specifically after the first static fire test of Booster 20. But one of the good things that I was happy to see, which I had not been paying attention to during the static fire test, apparently, was that they actually got rid of those um, cannon vents along the blast wall. And so I think we may actually even be able to see this from here. So, Alex, these got replaced with these two tanks, right? Like basically,
Correct.
instead of dumping this over the wall, they're recovering it. We can actually see it right there, the frost
Yeah.
lines of these.
Correct.
Yeah,
They-
it's pretty impressive how much they did within that time. So I guess, and we'll probably touch on this again when we get there. But so it's basically just these two tanks and these two tanks that are new, and it looks like both of them are operational, right? So these are just part of the methane.
Those
Or
are
just liquid nitrogen as well too.
those are liquid nitrogen tanks. They're being filled, but their outflow isn't hooked up yet, which is kind of bizarre that they've been filling them. They've been using
Yeah,
them
it looked
just
like they were
Go on.
running during because like the Lab Padres rover 2 is right here. So he was looking across into the farm, and I was like, "Are they actually using these right now?" I was kind of confused.
Yeah, they're just routing them through the transfer lines, I believe, rather than the
Okay.
main outflows.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, having these two um, certainly made the view a little bit better through prop load, not having a huge pond of liquid oxygen over the wall right here.
It's just gonna get better on flight 14 probably when the main bleed line from the tower goes away.
Yeah, I hope he has some good shots of that too. I didn't get a chance to look through these. Um, Actually, we're already into prop load right now, so that has already passed. Yeah, I mean, leading up into prop load, you do have that huge waterfall coming over the tower, which is interesting that it's already dry down here after that point. Um, oh wow, I noticed how much water they left in the trench this time.
I didn't either. Well,
It's quite a bit actually. Not as much as Blue Origin, but kind of a lot, most that I've seen here. But yeah, so lots of great shots leading up to ignition. So I'll kind of just maybe skip us through there since I thought I got rid of these images. Skip us through prop load. Oh, this is actually really cool. So Mauricio flew over the beach at South Padre Island, where most of the viewing area is. Or one of the viewing areas. A lot of people like to watch from uh, Rocket Ranch, and Maria has her Starship station down there as well too. And but this is one of the other viewing areas, which is actually pretty nice as well. There was a lot less people down there for this one, I would say, because um, I think anytime a launch gets scrubbed, you end up with either a much larger crowd or a smaller one. And I think in this case, both of them kind of caught both launch dates kind of caught people off guard in some ways. Even though there was about like a week and a half notice on this one, the original launch date, that was still kind of sudden for some people, and I think a lot of people didn't actually believe that it was going to go off when they said it was. So then, in this case, after the scrub, I think the audience ended up being even smaller the second time around, just because you know a lot of the diehards that went down there the first time ended up having to go back home and weren't able to stay for the actual for the launch day a week later. But still pretty cool to see the crowd down there. I think this will pick up significantly next time, mostly because of the fact that we are now potentially expecting the ship to the first return to the launch site catch attempt for the ship. So I expect the crowd will be one of the largest we've seen down there, although that will be um, definitely a different type of event than what we've seen in the past, considering that Ryan might be able to correct me on this. I think the ship will have to do, will it be a single orbit or would it be two?
There's a lot of kind of mixed opinions on what that kind of looks like. I think what I've gathered from just hearing the online commentary is that it kind of depends on what orbit they launch into. If they launch on the same trajectory, I don't think it'll be one orbit. I think the next chance they have is probably about 24 hours later. But there potentially are some orbits that they can maybe come back in one orbit. So we'll kind of have to wait to see what happens. But um, I would expect just expect like a day probably between launch and catch. And on the probably the most exciting one will be if it is in one orbit, which I still doubt would happen, especially if they're operationally deploying many satellites. So we'll just have to wait to see.
So, and I need to go check on this again too, but um, I know the space engineer was tracking. Uh, a lot of people have been tracking basically the pings from the ship after it landed. And did it last for longer than 24 hours?
Hmm.
Like before the batteries on the ship died, or what we think is what happened when it basically the avionics died?
Think there's a lot of
Yeah.
unknowns on that. The I believe technically the telemetry that was pinging the location stopped coming in. It was either 12 or 24 hours. I can't remember now. But it was well below the stated 48 hours of on orbit that we've kind of heard before for the vehicle. Now, whether that means the battery is drained or they simply just stopped updating the GPS data. We don't really know. The kind of open source information that people are using to kind of track the ship, that the timestamp is updating on the data, but the actual position isn't, which I could think of a number of reasons why they may not want to publish the exact ship location as it's still floating out in the Indian Ocean. But there have been other means of tracking the activities via the marine assets. So whether the ship is dead or the battery wise or not, I guess we don't really know. But it does seem like it is still floating as of maybe a couple of hours ago. I think was the last update I saw.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I just wondered if they even had 24 hours, but I honestly, if I hadn't heard that they had 48 hours of on orbit time, but that's good. I wonder if we'll start seeing, I mean, because most of the ships that are flying right now, up until they start doing the on orbit transfer, propellant transfer, I guess they don't really need more than 48 hours, more than likely. Um, so, but I do wonder when we'll start seeing like ships with at least them testing solar panels on the ships. That seems like something that should probably happen sooner rather than later. But getting back to these images, and we'll kind of touch on some of the Flight 13 stuff more as we go. And um, if we have time at the end of the show, I'll probably bring up some footage as well too. But yeah, so this image is basically the last one that he got right before ignition. So you can see the deluge activating and both in the farm and coming out of the trench. So that's a really awesome shot. And the next one is ignition. Okay, I lied. It's after this. There we go. Yeah, this is actually pretty cool because you can see how dry everything is over here leading up into this. and then how far the water gets thrown once the engines ignite.
It's also cool how you can see the bias of the water from the deck. It's clearly going to the left and towards us more than it is, away and to the right.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like it's not even flowing right here. Wow, the plume expansion between those two is crazy.
Wait a
Was
minute.
there some shots missing in between there?
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple that are, quite a few that are missing.
Okay. Yeah, wow, this is a really awesome shot catching it uh, right after it passes your altitude, basically. Must be difficult shooting a moving target while you're moving. Yeah, wow, these are incredible shots. Every time the launch gets scrubbed, it ends up working out for the better because the day before had this happen the day before wouldn't have been as clear of images, but I guess that it was the reason why it was uh, delayed in the first place was because they needed it to be clear out so they could get imagery of the um, heat shield as they were through the ascent phase. And I'm kind of curious about that. Like, are they doing a different flight profile that makes them worried about heat tiles falling off?
Yeah, this flight, they seemingly did not throttle down as much during max Q as they had previously. So they were expecting a lot more stress on the actual tiles themselves in the airstream. So I believe we ended up seeing some effects of that test later on in the flight. But yeah, they were definitely stressing a little bit more. So I imagine they probably had a lot of tracking assets nearby to check for the tile confetti if there was any during that portion of flight. That was the primary reason why they wanted to push back and to a day that had clear blue skies.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they mentioned that during the broadcast, but I was on doing commentary, wasn't able to hear all of it at times. So, um, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I might pull up some of those shots from when it landed here a little bit later. But yeah, but also, like I said, really cool seeing the aftermath immediately after. You can see how far it pushed that water all the way over to here. I think a little bit past. This was already kind of wet beforehand, but yeah, it's really just amazing how clear the pad looks afterwards, as far as like not having just scorch marks all over the place. Um, and honestly, the fact that there's no like residual steam afterwards either, so that cooling system, that water diet just does a really good job of cooling everything down. So we'll probably come back to, like I said, flight 13 stuff. I'm gonna move us over to the Sanchez site. Um, so if y'all have some flight 13 questions, save them for a little bit later, and we'll touch on them when we get back to the launch site. In the meantime, we'll go ahead head over to Massey's, where we do actually have some new stuff going on with the static fire test stands, since we already started over there. And I'm actually surprised that I caught this. At least I think I did. I'm not sure if I'm maybe imagining this, but I think these two new platforms are new on the side right here.
No, unfortunately, they've
No,
been there for probably a month, 6 weeks, maybe.
dang
Yeah, they're not.
it.
Sorry to burst it, but yeah, they're the newest things there since the last flyover are the reinstallation of the two higher up angles for the likely forward flap pull down testing.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking maybe they were preparing to add stuff onto here for the um what are they called? Sorry, the two mating points for the docking ports.
Yeah, I think they had when they did the very first set of forward flap testing when they hooked them up, they had done some scaffolding in those two locations to get to the flaps for some of those connection points. when the flaps were retracted, and I think that's what those are going to be used for making those connections.
Yeah,
Okay,
Zach, if
so
you zoom in on those platforms, there's like a very slight angle to kind of the corner. So like if you go to the left one, there's like the railing that goes down at an angle, and then there's a kind of a slight cut to the left of that. Yeah, right there. So when the forward flaps fold back, they basically hug against
come up
that. So
against
that
that.
allows them to, yeah, that allows them to hook up some hardware to the forward flap.
That's pretty cool. So I guess they didn't really add anything necessarily new onto here, just re-added things that were previously removed.
Yeah, after a little reconfiguring, the two arms that were put back on were the geometry of the steel is flipped over as opposed just to get some different positioning. Be curious to go back. I haven't done an A/B comparison on what the old points and the new points are like, kind of where they are relative in the XY coordinates, to see really what they changed or if they felt like the loads weren't working right with the previous one. Though we never really saw them hook it up either. So
Right. Seems like they are doing some work down here. I can't tell what they're doing though. But they are also still working on the we're about to start the underground water lines. I don't think they've actually done anything yet up to this point, other than kind of dig out this or start to dig out this trench. So it seems like they're going to run it
Great.
alongside the. What was that?
Yeah, the new drainage has all been installed. We did have one straight down view that you could see that there's a water pipe partially in that trench in the corner closest to the static fire stand. Whether it's completely run parallel the entire distance, we don't have any photos to prove it really. I think read to the left of your cursor, I think is a straight down that one right there.
I think you can see the black pipe there in the corner, right? Yeah, right as it goes into the vault. That would be the drain pipe.
Yeah, so you got the drain and then you got the blue pipes coming out of that elbow for the water pipe.
What is it draining from?
It's draining that entire back end. They're routing it into the boxbow rather than into the river.
Draining from back here.
Yep.
Oh, so like the whole pad is like graded here, so it's just like storm drain.
Yeah. Yeah, that area gets a little damp when they're doing the COPV tests as well.
Okay, yeah, and I guess you can see some of that water pipe already down there. Okay, so they've probably got it all down in here then as well too so far.
Yeah, and I believe if you go back to previous weeks to the amount of the blue water pipe, how much it's depleted, would probably track with it running the whole distance.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, it looks like they're probably close to backfilling this and then doing the rest of the line along here, I'm guessing. Yeah, like I said, I think that's definitely a sign that most of that municipal line is completed. I have to ask Dave because I know he probably was paying attention to that when he was down there. So actually, did he even go this time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was down there.
Okay. All right. So moving on. There's not much over in the cryo stand area. They did switch out, I think, a few LOX pumps this week, but I'm not really seeing the old ones down there. But so a lot of movement kind of over here in the test stand area. They did move 18.3 out of the Super Crusher finally. And I think this test stand is now offline. So they seem to have started removing a lot of the cryo tubes that were going over to here. So I'm guessing they're rerouting those, preparing to remove these tanks or both.
That's my assumption as well, Zach.
But I mean, it's kind of strange though, because I'm guessing the same line that used to be the supply over here, I mean, it's still going to be, they'll probably reuse this line and just have it flow the opposite direction.
Right.
So it is a
But
bit strange that this is being removed.
it's probably easier for when they remove that, they'll probably dig that up and
Put it underneath.
yeah. Or yeah, because it depends how they're laying out this stands with them. They're gonna need a crane pad, it looks like, unless that's what they just poured.
Where?
The
Down
new, no, the new pad, right?
here? Okay, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they'll line all of the test stands up along here in place of these once they've removed the tanks. But I think we probably won't be seeing any more testing down here for a while, other than potentially this stand.
Yeah, really, the bird cage with the landing tank's the only thing that's still connected to anything, and obviously they're getting that all integrated.
Yeah, so we haven't seen them test since they started setting this up, right?
Not since they removed it, yeah. Not since they removed it and then put it back in with all the new hardware.
Are these some actuators down here?
Yeah, there's a stack of well, on the two sides with just the single reaction frames, there's a stack of 4 rams. You can actually, in that previous one, you could see it, but you can see it in the top downs that go to some tabs that are on the landing tank. And then in this one, on that where that V reaction frame is, there's that one at the top going straight out, and I think that's a stack of 4. But then just to the kind of the left and right of it, there's additional ones that are kind of going off on an angle too.
They're just kind of floating there right now. They're not. Let's see
Yeah,
if
I
I can
don't.
find it better.
Yeah, I don't think anything's connected yet. We can
Yeah,
see
so, I
on
mean, I
the.
still think this is probably not related to this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can see all those silver tabs that are hanging off the sides. You can see on those 4 right there. You can see the shackles attached to to those arms that are sticking out left and right.
Oh yeah.
Some of the way the way that those almost look like they kind of pivot. I'm not sure if they're welded so that they're firmly there. I'm curious to see in the next like week or two when they start connecting these up, how they're gonna assert some different forces on it.
Yeah, I guess I take back what I just said, because obviously, uh, let's see, is there another angle of this that I can see how many of those actuators there are? So they'll probably just end up attaching like straps to them.
Yeah, something like that. I was back and forth and kind of a thought I was just having yesterday when we were doing show and tell and talking about some of this. It felt like the two opposing frames were going to just pull straight against each other. But the more I look at it, I almost wonder if somehow those actually come around to those shackle ones, and then those angled ones off of this go to the left and right sides, just the way that the way they're pointed, to where it pulls on it a little different. The fact that there's nothing pulling from the far end, this whole structure seems like you're just gonna like turn that tank into a banana. But I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, BJ, because the ones on the sides there, the silver, I guess the tabs hanging off, they do look like they're kind of biased in shape. Yeah, Zach, if you go a little further, the ones on the left side there, further to the left.
These ones.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah, they look like they're a little biased actually, like away from your cursor. Almost, to support what BJ was saying, where those could actually be connected to the pistons here at the bottom of the frame. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really give that thought yesterday when we were discussing it, but it's like it was just kind of a thought because it was one of those ones where taking those two and like connecting them to the shackles on that other arm, I don't know that you'd actually be able to like do any like torsional force on it, like I was like the previous discussions were. So it's like trying to envision how all these things would connect to the test article and actually like give them some kind of useful data because I just can't. It's very unclear to me.
I think if you look how the tanks are mounted inside the booster, that would point to the direction of where they're applying forces and what the load paths they're trying to simulate are.
Guessing this side is against the wall.
I have to look. It's pretty
Maybe
much
it's the
just
opposite.
suspended by on those three sides.
I mean, geez, like what kind of aggressive maneuvers are they going to be trying to do with the booster that they're not already doing?
Longevity. Doing wear
Makes
tests.
sense. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not to get into Flight 13 stuff, but we definitely did not see them do the glide on Flight 13, so they haven't even tested that yet.
So they're basically trying to avoid doing that until they know that it's not going to rip off the wall, basically.
I don't think that was the intent with what we saw with 13, but I'm guessing that they're more concerned about landing burn potentially because you've got basically an empty oxygen tank, and you've got some maneuvers you're going to have to do to get the booster between the arms for a catch, and that's going to apply a lot of forces on that tank that's still going to be relatively full before the landing burn. It's going to have a lot of it'll still be kind of in the glide too. So that there may be some angle additional that we're not used to seeing during that landing burn startup. So there's going to be a lot of high force maneuvers done during the landing burn for a booster catch.
Right.
And it's also asymmetric since it's biased so far to one side of the tank, how it's being mounted.
Yeah, good point. So, do we think that one of these tanks will end up over on the new little pad, the uh,
I hope
pedestal
not.
that they made?
I hope not.
Well, I
But
noticed
yeah,
that it has like 5 mounting points on it. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, that was
I
my
can-
initial thought too, and then we did find a sixth plate that was sitting next to it. So it seems like there's a potential for them to attach 20 plates and make that a full circle, and then the bolt
Right,
holes that
because it
are
does have.
on each of them does seem to be like it could be the same mating surface that they've been using for bear ring test articles. So I have a tendency to. I was at first I really did think 18.3 was going to go on there, or even 18.1, just because it's mounted on 5 booster clamps on the old can crusher. So, but I'm on. I think there's too many options still.
The symmetry definitely implies that it could be a staging stand for a booster related test article, in my opinion. Just being 5-way symmetry, plus if they add 5 more plates, you've got 10, and they like to hold on to this stuff in either 5 or 10 or 20 clamp locations.
And actually, I misspoke on that. I meant the old the booster cryo stand. Yeah.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what they end up doing with that. Let's see. Is there anything else over here that I know they've
Well,
made a little bit of progress. Sorry, go ahead.
well, what's right in front of us right here, 39.1 is no longer there. It's back. It's next to Megabay 2 right now. It came back last night.
Oh, really? I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It was the road closure last night. It came back on that stand.
So maybe did it actually go to the Mega Bay, or is it in the like Sanchez?
It's sitting next to Megabay 2, where the ship transporter stand was during one of the earlier flyovers. It got moved. I think it was between the launch flyover and yesterday's flyover. That stand moved to make room for this to go where it is.
So the fact that it's not in Sanchez might imply that they're going to make some modifications to this.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'm really curious to see what's going to go. The fact that they brought that kind of A-frame looking reaction frame that they built in Sanchez disappeared, then it showed up at Massey's, and then we saw it transport back to somewhere back at the production site, 'cause it's somewhere indoors. It almost feels like those are all related to each other, just kind of the timing of the movements, as if they were going to initially do some kind of work on it here at Massey's and then change their mind on how they want to process it.
A feeling that's going to go on top of the bird cage, that reaction frame. Because I'm
Which one?
pretty sure the triangular one that they moved last, was it during the Monday or was it during the flood?
Is it at Sanchez? I'll be able to go see it.
No, you'd have to either go back to the last main flyover of it to see it on Massey's. I know it was caught by ground cameras when it was transporting, but I don't think it was any of the lab. I don't think it was a lab camera that saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll be the HLS nose docking adapter test fixture.
I just think
I
it's
can find it
interesting that
really
I just think it's interesting that it just keeps moving back and forth and whatnot. Obviously, they've got something that happened that decided that they didn't want it out at Massey's anymore. But so maybe the movements are a little bit not corresponding with each other. It just kind of seems coincidental to me.
Okay, I think I know which one you're talking about. The one that was basically right
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
here.
Exactly.
Cool.
I was so confused over a little bit. You guys kept talking about triangles, and I was like, "What was a triangle shape?" It's more like that trapezoid, that black.
Yeah,
trapezoid.
yeah.
Okay.
It's right here. There we go.
Yeah, A-frame
Okay.
wasn't the best example for it, but yeah, that guy right there.
Yeah, there are
I mean-
triangles. There's 3 triangles here, Ryan. Come on, give us something.
I had to really dig deep for that one.
Hopefully that didn't throw off my list opening up that one. Because I can only hold so many in the recent. Let's see. Anything else at Massey's?
No, I mean the only thing
I'll
that we
take
did see is obviously they've started a crane pad next to that concrete circle pedestal on the left. So obviously whatever they're planning on putting on there might be arriving there sooner than later since they're getting ready to move the crane over there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really make much sense of it because I do imagine that, like, you want possibly a temporary water tank for holding over here, and then you like a pump station, especially if it's like treated or something like that. So you hold it here, treat it, and then send it over there. So you're not necessarily pulling directly from the main supply to fill those tanks. But yeah, I mean the path for that is quite long. It would almost make more sense for the water line to go the opposite direction if that was the case. But we shall see. Annie, do we have any questions so far from Massey's? I guess
We
probably
do.
not.
No, we do actually have 2 questions for Massey's. The first one is from Dean. He's wondering, with Starship very close to operational, why would they move the test stands at Massey's to be all in a line? It seems to me that they won't have much more testing to do in the future.
Well, there'll be a lot of testing in the future. So, for one, HLS will require a considerable amount of testing. I'm guessing the tanker variant might require something different, depending on how they actually store that surplus fuel. So if it's stored in the main tanks, it'll probably not really necessarily require anything new. But structurally, the tanker variant will be a little bit different. And what else? The V4 booster and ship, with those being taller, I imagine they'll also require different testing. However, if they just stretch them, some of the stuff that they're doing right now may apply to those, but there's a chance that, plumbing wise or, elsewise, just structurally things might change between V3 and V4. So I don't think we shouldn't expect these to stay here. I think they'll probably be multiple different versions of. And also if Raptor's upgraded at any point, then they'll probably need to redo these structural tests, at least for the aft sections. I mean, honestly, they could need to redo everything because more thrust puts more aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle. So I do think that we'll probably see more testing in the future.
Right on. We got a couple of donations too from PayPal. We want to thank DMHMT, who donated $40 and says, "This week's photos have me full on geeking out." Me too, DMHMT. And then we got a $10 donation from Ulrich M, who said, "For the fuel to noise converter." Thank you both so much for your generosity. And then one more question for you from Psychology. Psycholoy, sorry. He says, "They rolled 39.1 back last night along with the test stand it was on. Any idea why the stand moved too? Assuming the testing on 39.1 is done testing."
Isn't that one of the articles that's bolted to the stand?
Yeah, I believe it's one of those ones where it's welded to an interface ring that's bolted to the actual stand ring.
Yeah, it is.
Welded along here.
Yeah.
Funny enough,
So
I
they
see a
just
lot
didn't
of
wanna
loose
cut it off here
bolts.
for some reason.
The
Wait, where are
those
these?
the secondary reinforcement parts there that you can kind of see the ribs from, those were cut when they removed it from the ship cryo stand when it was doing testing over at that station. But I think when they moved it here, it's just a solid weld all the way around without the extra structure.
Yeah, maybe they might finally be getting rid of the original cannon crusher as well. Send that to Sanchez for decommissioning.
You can only hope.
I like this thing. Any other Massey's questions before I move us over?
Nope, we're all done. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So not a ton at Sanchez this week, although there are some interesting items. But a lot of the there's a lot more work going on at Roberts Road, I would say, related to launch mount stuff because they definitely are prioritizing Pad 37. So we still haven't seen seen the corner sections for the show up. But and we haven't seen replacement components for the top deck either. So I'm actually surprised this one's still here. I'm guessing the only reason it is probably because the first panel for 37 happened to be ready, so they were able to ship that one instead of moving this. So they may already have that replacement on its way down there, and it wasn't worth moving this one. But they are at least getting ready to start the both the two ramps, the deflector ramps, as it looks like they've started assembling the frame back here, and also the two manifold sections. So probably see them. I wonder if they're going to build them in place right here, because this kind of seems like it's in the way of things.
They'll probably be done a lot faster than the previous one.
Yeah, but it's in the middle of the road.
Yeah, except there's not a lot of traffic that goes that direction.
Yeah, they've kind of got this around.
Yeah.
They've kind of got this loop around the actual OLM area, kind of forgetting everything that's in that area. And obviously, you can't get back to the to where the Starlink building and all this stuff is, but you can get to it from the other side. So,
Oh, interesting. I didn't even notice these earlier.
yeah, those were there in the last flyover, but the kind of the end of the shoulder arm there on the left hand side is more recently arrived.
Well, that's good to know. So we are getting a completely new QD arm.
The change of the bunker plumbing is curious.
You're talking about this?
Yep. They
Yeah, these do look a little different.
They didn't have mirror symmetry before. They were both pointing the same direction.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. I was kind of confused because I don't get how that works.
Yeah,
I thought they were mirrored to each other in Pad 2.
No, they're not. They both pop up closest to their inlets are on the same sides and their outlets.
This is the outlet side, right?
No, that's inlet.
Okay.
And then you have the two valves for either draining or filling. and that's the outlet to the
Can you even
QD.
tell which one's methane and which one's like I was looking at it earlier and I couldn't tell.
Um, not yet. Their bleed line isn't there, but these were almost identical.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
definitely a
it's just
difference on
strange
that.
that they're mirrored like this though, because I'm guessing that means one will either be flipped the other direction, or instead of coming directly up from the trench, the pipe will have to like do a weird U-turn.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Or it's going to U-turn inside the bunker on the methane side.
Sorry, I forgot this was the outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing a lot more of this assembly. Like they're saving a lot for on site. These are mostly complete, but I did see some other stuff over here that it looked like they were
Those were built
out
all here.
in
They've been
the ground fab building.
No, right there. This is where they've been building these.
Oh, they fully assembled it here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they have all their IKEA parts laid out, and yeah.
And they must be really busy in Florida if they're doing all this stuff out here.
Yeah, it's sort of like, are they building this bucket for pad 1, or are they going to ship it, barge it assembled to Florida? Because
That doesn't sound like a good idea to me.
I mean, the two sites, it doesn't make sense that they're building 37's OLM first, considering the state of 37.
Right. Like,
I mean,
because of the fact that it doesn't have like even a propellant farm, so like
exactly.
there's almost no way that it can become operational before pad 2 or pad 1.
Yes.
But I mean, they could build that propellant farm in record time. That'd be crazy, honestly. I mean, with how much work that is involved in that, I feel like it's probably not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes sense to me, though, is the fact that the flame trench is quite a bit farther along at 37 than it is at pad 1 right now.
True.
But they don't have any speed core walls. They don't have the bunker partially assembled.
Yeah, I mean, there is some of that concurrent work that they're not doing there, but I mean, they had rat slabs weeks ago already, and they just got that recently here at Starbase.
Sorry, I'm just checking for anything new down here. Didn't have a chance to go through these all the way.
Yeah, it seems like they're cleaning that area.
area too.
That area is getting a lot of cleanup work right now. I'd be curious to see what they start transitioning work in that area for.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a new Star Factory stand, right?
Yeah, there's some new stuff over by where they're
West.
doing the horse. Yeah, where they're working on Gigabay stand stuff. I think there's 2 stands that are fairly new that are for the factory over there.
Last week there was one here, I thought.
These are for the ship stand, right?
Yep, they're the bases. They're the fixtures for assembling the transport stands.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking maybe there was another one coming in, but I don't think so. Move us a little bit further into Sanchez. It is really difficult looking through these thumbnails. Maybe this is a good one. Not much in this area as far as I saw when I was going through it. Still nothing with this frame over here, and they seem to be. Wait, is this for a bridge crane?
Yeah, that's the access catwalks for on the main bridge cranes.
Ooh, so those should be arriving soon. Are these bridge crane related too?
Yeah, I think all of that stuff is assorted pieces because there's a number of different catwalks along the girders as well as up by the trolley.
So we'll probably see those start to arrive soon. Are they
I think
clearing
so. With roof
space for
trusses,
them?
yeah, with roof trusses starting to get installed, I would definitely think that we're getting pretty close to seeing the first girders.
And they've once again kind of slowed down on paneling a little bit just because they caught up so quickly. It seems like that little delay that they had didn't really slow them down at all.
Now that triple row that they were kind of working 3 rows at a time as they went around went really quick. They've started the 9th row now on the parking garage side. We'll get to it later, but they've again kind of caught up to where they've got some of their safety netting and things like that.
Right. So there are definitely some newer stuff up here by the the Rocket Garden area. Um, they are a lot further into making these first few stands than I realized initially. Um, so I think this is most likely probably a booster stand right here for the um, Gigabay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's ship or booster. I mean, I think those types of platforms are going to be fairly universal on all the stations. It's just a matter of what height they're installed at that probably determines whether they're part of ship or booster specific stations.
Yeah, because that wouldn't
Can
be
you
for down
tell?
low. That would be for up higher on the tank wall. So you're going to be consistent on your 9 meter diameter.
Okay, so you think this gets mounted up higher? Like I thought this was one of the lower surrounding
Yeah,
stands, but I guess
yeah, I'm undecided on if that is going to be like the first level, like at the top of the work stand itself, or if it's going to get a wall attached. However, we do see some angle braces that are associated with it, kind of that are similar to how the Mega Bay One elevated platforms are at the top of the bay, where they kind of have a bracket that goes on an angle back to be just completely attached to the side of the wall.
this right here is weird.
Yeah, there's a little offset there. And I haven't really studied it too hard on whether that's gonna if it actually does fit into one of the corner stations where there's an elevator shaft right next to it, or maybe if it. I mean, the staircase. It looks like there's a staircase just below that cutout that kind of gets up in there. That kind of supports maybe a lower level access stand, and then maybe
But
that's
there are
part of an
no
L.
elevators in the actual workstations, right? Currently, so
No, but if you look at where the curve is, there's another angle where you can see how there's like a good extension on that top one that goes past the curve, but the curve is almost at the end of the frame on the lower one, to where that might actually sit underneath one of the corridors next to the elevator shaft once they're connected, because you can see how these two lap together and become one
right.
piece eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's I haven't really started to fully worked out where, like, if there's a potential workstation in particular that would get installed into. There's a couple of additional like gangplank catwalk pieces sitting nearby too. I forget which direction from here, but I would assume they're associated. Yeah, I think it's just down below a little bit farther. You can see there's a
Let me look
staircase.
in here.
There's a gray staircase down below, just off the image, and then there's a longer catwalk right there. And I think
Really quickly, any idea on these?
those were those two white stands that I had mentioned earlier. I think those are actually factory related stands. I'm not quite sure what it kind of. That one on the left, kind of the hole in the middle, and the three openings that are in a triangle, kind of feel almost landing tank-ish related stuff. But
Yeah, like it would
the
come
3
up through
points
here,
different.
which is strange though, because it would almost make you think that this would have to be able to be lifted off of the top of that stand.
Yeah, the other thing it kind of almost looks like is it almost resembles like the bottom, like transfer tube, ship transfer tube, like your main one down the middle, and they're there. If it's like instead of doing all of their work on, or maybe even a change of work based off of the install stand that they have. It almost feels something related to that too. Just I can't quite tell.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the other things to consider is that when they're stacking things in the Megabay, or sorry, Gigabay, it might be a little bit different. So they may not necessarily use the same stands that they're using now as far as doing the way that they stack the LOX tank onto the aft section.
Yeah.
Might be, or sorry, not the aft section, but the on top of the header tank, um, and the final stack too. So where they lift it onto that same transport stand in order to before they move in the methane tank. Um,
Yeah, it's almost interesting something to me. Like if there was some way that they could, like, when they do get into newer techniques of assembly with Gigabay coming online, if like instead of the way that we see ship stack now, that like the, I guess it would be the A3 and the A, or like the common dome and the section below it get like pre-built as a taller assembly sub-assembly, that you wouldn't use that the stand that we're used to seeing.
yeah, that's interesting. I'm kind of excited to see them start outfitting these workstations.
Yeah, between that and then the kind of the work stands that they're starting to work on with that chip stand down there next door. Be curious to start getting some more details on how they're doing it, especially since we're still speculating on why that one side is kind of elevated, and then obviously it's got we've got the little extension on the lift platform that kind of is associated
Yeah, I
with.
actually hadn't seen that last week. I didn't notice this. Um, so you have some ideas on this though?
Well, I think the leading theory, kind of that has a bigger consensus, is that that's somehow related to having extra headroom for getting the RVACs up onto the platform and underneath the ring. Just the way that the fact that the ship will now sit on this stand more like how a booster would sit on its stands. Obviously, it doesn't have the retractable arm linkages, but whereas in Megabay 2, we see the ship sitting directly on top of the actual structural ring. On the new ones for Gigabay, the ship is going to be sitting on each of those 6 extension arms, where
These,
the structural ring, yeah, yeah. So well, that's those ones are upside down, but that's what those junction points are there, so you can see how the arm sticks
oh
out
wait,
into the
sorry.
ring.
Okay, so these are the same thing as this right here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was looking at those
yeah,
wrong
those ones are
before.
just
Okay.
those ones are just upside down. So where that structural ring will actually be is actually, it's not 9 meters anymore. It's going to be like that 12 meters or whatever it is, going around it, giving you extra room around the actual vehicle. So I'll be curious to see some of how that's going to be in there. We did see some through some of the different flyovers of Roberts Road. We did see one of these sitting in a workstation, but I think it was just transported from where they were building them. It was coincidentally sitting with that extension piece sitting towards the aisle, but it wasn't sitting on legs or anything yet. So I don't think we can actually glean any information from that.
Yeah, so Zach, the ship would actually sit on top of the brown rectangular patches
Right.
on that. So that's the 9 meters right there. So that gives them a lot more room, basically underneath the ship in order to mess with the engines and whatnot. So I would imagine that there's kind of a deck that is put around this that would allow them to get up close to the bottom of the ship once it's sitting on top of here. But that's the main structural part that holds it. And kind of what BJ was saying, then the legs would bolt to the bottom of this, and then there would be commonality between, or most likely there would be commonality between the booster stands and the ship stands. So if they wanted to, they could, in theory, basically pull this off and take it to a different workstation and reassemble it later on.
So I guess one thing that I was thinking about with this, it almost makes me wonder if this is like the front side, like and it's raised so you can access the QD,
Yeah, I was about
or
to. Yeah, and
if
I was about to say that too. That was my initial take, and maybe it's actually a combination of both of them. Where just like you were saying, that elevation, I think, would give it to a point where you could better access the QD plate for hooking it up for press during manufacturing and whatnot.
I'm not
But the
sure I
other,
really like that idea though, because the QD is still quite a ways up from that. That small jog isn't really getting you anywhere. Like you're still going to need a platform that's above that in order to access the QD. Like it's not right
yeah,
there.
my second thought was that I don't know exactly how tall these are, but maybe if they only are bringing engines in from one side, um, then basically from the transfer aisle, like this is just raised so that this is like slightly lower profile than the ones in the Mega Bay, and so this would be the only side that's tall enough for RVACs to get in, possibly.
Yeah, that was my idea from the get go that I had shared. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of that is seems to be one of the more agreed upon theories.
But why would you want to remove a stand and move it somewhere else? That doesn't make sense.
So one example of that would be like they've got one gigabay now, but eventually they would have probably a second one kind of mirrored. If you wanted to, but obviously you need to build both ship and booster in Gigabay 1 initially, so you can then tear down Megabay 1 and probably Megabay 2 to build your second Gigabay. But then if you wanted to reconfigure to maybe have ship production be specific to one Gigabay and booster to another or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
else,
So
you
you
could switch them around.
move. Yeah, that
So
makes
you don't have
sense.
to do any foundation work.
Yeah, it's just a simplification that you have a common base module that a shipper booster assembly could happen. I mean, I think Ryan's touched on this before. I know they've standardized the clamp interface spacing. There's been a lot of work they've been doing and for a while, converging the ship and the booster, at least their fixtures and stuff of that nature.
Right.
Yeah, for a
Are these
while it was kind of
hydraulic
treated.
lines?
It's treated so like Booster was kind of developed by one team, Ship was developed by another, and there was basically like an API or just an abstraction layer between them, which was kind of the clamping interface where they had completely different layouts and symmetry, but now they're definitely converging on a very similar layout for a lot of the stuff.
You guys think these are hydraulic lines? Look kind of big for that.
And I think they're just conduits. I think they're just ducts.
And so this right here, I saw Chrome Kiwi post earlier about this. So this is what we're expecting to be on the bottom of the ship after it's broken over, right?
No, that's the lift platform for the stand next to it. I think what Chrome Kiwi modeled, I think, is actually an image from something we saw in the KSC
Robert Jones.
flyover that we haven't released.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the shape
Because it looked very
is
similar to this.
similar.
It does have a similar shape, but yeah.
It's a substantially more robust structure
Mhm.
that Roberts Road.
This obviously looks like it tucks underneath this as well too.
Yeah, that's my
Over here.
theory on that the fishtail goes under the elevated section. It looks like there's also I think there's a kind of a ledge all the way around the rest of the ring that doesn't exist. You can kind of see where there's a gap in the little like toe kick on that side.
Yeah, and
This
that
is
bump.
weird though, because
I mean-
it wouldn't be able to go up past this point. So
Yeah, because you'll still have the
it
Mario
technically wouldn't be able
you'll still have the Mario Karts and all that stuff that do all the actual lifting up
Right,
above it.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Zach, because the white thing looks like it's the same diameter as the white ring on the right,
Yeah.
but
I mean-
it would impact or conflict with the kind of the gussets on those support plates.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially on the where that fishtail is, you can see where the kind of that angle there, that L-shaped angle between where the bracket is, would essentially hug the leg underneath there. It wouldn't actually come all the way to the outside of the ring.
But it's probably a fact that it's going to be hugging the beam that would be supporting that, and that the removal of the toe kick there is essentially just so they can have a ramp to actually get the vehicles up in there. So that's not all going to come all the way to the top like you were picturing, Zach. It's basically just going to ride along the vertical support beams.
Okay.
That's towards the subfloor that all the carts and stuff sit on.
Mhm.
So with those carts, it doesn't actually the platform still raises though, and the carts raise as well too, right?
Yeah, there's the actual center part that goes up into the bell is on a telescope, so the carts themselves can raise the engines up higher than what they transport at.
Yeah, and that, I don't know if somebody touched on that pop-up is, you know, gives you just a little extra headroom when you're coming across before that raises up, right?
Yeah.
Because the aft of the ship skirt is basically going to be fairly even with the bottom of that one and the top of the five
Right.
of them. So keeps the structure out of the way.
I wonder if they're going to be like platforms along this edge too.
I feel like they would, yeah. Once they probably have to have some access in order to. There may be mechanical or whether it's hydraulic or electronic clamps to kind of hold the vehicles down. They probably still want to have access to get down to like where those conduits are that you pointed out. So
Yeah.
they probably do that first and then put some paneling on top to create a floor around it.
Alrighty. Let's see. Anything else back here?
I don't think so. On the Sanchez side, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, in that case, I will move us over to the Gigabase side or Megabase side. So lots of stuff out here. We got aft flaps for ship 42,
Something.
41.
Something 42 41 already has 41 already has its flaps. 42's flaps are staged and hanging in the center workstation, so those are 43 or later.
I can't remember. They don't show up fully tiled. They have to do that still, right? So this would imply they're just the raw metal still.
That's my understanding there, that they arrive pinned but not tiled is what I feel like I've seen, unless it's changed.
So those are probably for like maybe 44
43 or
plus.
44.
Yeah. 'Cause I imagine they're already doing tiles on flaps, in the factory already for the sooner vehicles.
Yeah.
Interesting that they don't have locations to store them inside of the factory and they have to still keep them out here. Surprised they don't have a rack for those in there by now.
I'd be curious if they're if they actually have them, because those racks that we saw where they used to store them outside behind the factory were moved inside. I wonder if it could just be that they have so many flaps already on site that those racks are full and these are just waiting for another ship to take theirs so that they have available room.
Or was the construction they're doing behind there where they used to pass them in is blocked off?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
that
I was
too.
gonna add, yeah, they're doing the construction back there, so they may not really want to put extra stuff back there right now.
Are you talking about the backside of the Star Factory?
Yep.
Yeah, because they tore out that kind of loading dock office space area.
Let's see.
And that's where the loading dock went while he's finding it.
By the main loading dock.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the little flap shaped building that was there. Wait, so sorry, this was the original loading dock, right? Or no, it was just like an entrance.
They had like an office space there, and then the loading dock was next to it, and they've torn all that out now.
Yeah, that mobile modular loading dock. You can see the painted lines where it was there on the right hand side for that new door that they put in next to Mega Bay 2. They had put 4 docks there, and they're now over on the far end of the factory since they took that building out.
Right. Back over to backside over here. Not sure if I missed anything over here. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, not really. I mean, just always fun to watch when RVAC shipping container crates arriving or whatnot. There's 2 of them hanging out right now, probably waiting to go back to McGregor.
Where's the other one?
In the parking space, that bottom left parking space in the parking lot over on the other side, directly
Oh
across the
wow,
road.
yeah. Almost didn't even see that.
But yeah, and I'm not sure where exactly it is, but somewhere in here next to either right next to the booster cryo stand or the static fire stand, somewhere in this area is where 39.1 is currently sitting, maybe in that open space on the right.
Right here.
Yeah.
All right, BJ, take us away at the Giga Bay.
Well, like I said earlier, when we were talking about cladding and Sanchez, there at the bottom in the bottom of the image, you can see that they've essentially the triple rows all the way around, and that single row that they've got there is the 9th row that they're starting. We have seen brackets kind of going all the way around the building to start doing that entire row and not go up another level just yet. I was kind of hoping that they would do 2 or 3 levels at a time here on out, but we have seen actually in this image there was at one point, I think the day of flight, I think there was actually still some of the on that next beam above the cladding, there was still safety netting. So they're making some good progress to continue that cladding up. They just don't have brackets for assembly. But
The
go ahead.
brackets go on this face, right?
They go on the columns. Yeah, if you zoom in far enough, yeah, your cursor's on one right there. You can that darker little rectangular right there is the bracket that the top of the panel hangs from.
Even if you zoom in on the columns, you'll spot the 4 holes that they bolted into before they weld it.
Yep.
You think I can see that from this image?
Probably not.
Yeah, enough for it.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
from the ground image you can see it, but yeah, essentially right above every one of the bolting where the columns bolt together and where there's 2 tabs for putting the safety rails on, or they've been using it for the safety rails anyways. But yeah, that's where each bracket gets attached.
Have we seen
I
how
think-
they attach those? Are they like just
Bolt and then weld. Oh, in terms of how the frames get attached on it?
well, like are they just using? Do they have like a man lift over here that they're getting up there and?
No, they do it for essentially
On the inside?
the lift in Novatech lifting frame connects to it from the top, and then those brackets are at like probably head level or so at every level,
Okay.
so they can just they work from above from
The
inside
side.
the factory. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, because there's an air gap. There's a pretty decent air gap between the panel and the actual steel that lets them get in there.
Okay.
But some of the more exciting news as far as the structure goes this week, you can see the one crane with its boom laid over right now. They were actually in the process of reconfiguring that from the single line part hook to a 2 line part block that is required for starting to lift the roof trusses, which the first roof truss spanning over the aisle was installed later yesterday after the flyover. And the second one hasn't quite lifted yet, but it's that tower crane has its main block down right now. So I think before the day's end, the second one that'll finish that top from this angle, the topmost roof truss across that corner will be have its the two side trusses that they can then turn into a nice box truss. But yeah, so I think it was the morning of the launch day we started seeing them, the shorter pre-assembled trusses that you can see there hanging off the end of the middle wall at the top were installed.
This
Yep,
one?
yep, those there. So essentially, those are being installed in pairs. So one crane on either side of the wall are doing them together, so that they're not kind of twisting that wall as they and imbalance it.
Oh, okay. So they're basically putting both of these on at the same
Yep.
time.
Yep. And those were those first frames that we saw pre-assembled down at ground level. And then obviously the main spans we've seen more recently and talked about in previous episodes. So roof structures are coming along nicely. And then obviously one of the other newer developments there at the front of the bay is that they are now closing in over the top of the main doors, giving us our first looks here at Starbase at the final door height. And this side, I think this particular door, since the flyover is pretty much complete, and the other doorway is at about this and is about the about that level of completion now. During the flyover, it hadn't even been started yet. So in what 30 hours or so, the right side looks now what the
Wow,
left
they're
side looked
flying.
like. Yeah, yeah, it's going up real quick.
Was it pre-assembled?
Nope.
Like each. Okay.
No, those all stick built. There's a few spots for the front column where the column was bolted to the beam, because essentially these middle columns are not full. They're not full height. They just get bolted up to a full length column or a beam. Sorry, I mean. So those bridge beams are all one piece all the way across the doorway.
Are you talking about this?
All of them. I mean, all three of those beams horizontally there go the full length, as opposed to the column being the continuous piece. It's the beam that's the continuous piece.
Gotcha. It's hard to see from up here, but I guess that's just a gusset plate right there. It almost looked like this was two separate.
Yeah,
pieces.
it's all one piece. Yeah, from the ground, that connection above, you can actually see it a little bit clearer, because you can see the bolt holes at the top on the top, and you can actually see the two bolts that are holding that lower column to the connection point.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, so I would say in the next couple days, the level 7 steel can be considered complete, and the roof will be the primary area for the entire bay to be working on.
So I'm kind of wondering if these little support trusses over here, um, do you think that this will have to be removed from inside, like a mobile crane come in there and take those down? 'Cause I don't
Yeah,
see how they could get them down.
I'm not sure. I mean, we've seen them kind of do some other lifts. I mean, like when they did the back doors, they lifted the door rail slides in after the fact. So I think there is potential they could run the lift cable right next to the roof trusses and remove them. However, having seen some of the work at Roberts Road, how they were doing a lot of work with a mobile crane inside the building, I could see it being something that's removed, not with the tower cranes later down the road as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they have substantial amount of headroom between the top of those and the bottom of the roof trusses.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, couldn't they just use the bridge crane to actually do that too, just by piece from the top down?
I think
Oh,
they'll
yeah,
be
good point.
gone. I think they'll be long gone before the bridge cranes are ready. And the bridge cranes, just the travel speed of them would make it. You'd have to almost take them apart as a complete assembly, or you'd be there forever doing it.
Not to mention they already have crawler cranes inside of working in here already. So
Yeah.
Really? I didn't see them.
yeah,
The smaller ones, there's a smaller link belt they've been using for the actual that they've used for assembling the roof trusses that's inside.
Oh, okay.
But at Roberts Road, we have seen an LR13. There's one of the LR. I forget if it's a 1300 or 1500 has been in there. That's what they use to install the actual running rails on top of for the bridge cranes, as well as did a lot of the install work of the lifting hardware for the bridge crane installation was done with one of the luffing jib LRs.
It's like they're on this side on their final row of level of concrete that they need to pour, at least on the in the
Yep.
aisles. The
Yeah, I think they're the 10th floor is what they're
Parking stalls,
currently
sorry.
working. The 10th floor, I think, is what they're currently working on, which is the top of the stacking cell partitions.
Any other details from the other side that I should
Not
look
on
for? I'm trying to see if
not
there's
on
any other
Giga.
angles that I can shot.
I think from the other side, there really hasn't been anything on Gigabay. I think the only other thing I saw that there's actually a little bit of work going on the Star Factory over on that side that I noticed this
Oh,
morning as
meant to
well.
ask you last week, or 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago, possibly. So, do you think that there will only be one crane in each transfer aisle? That's what we were kind of
Mhm.
talking about before. Is that like
Yeah,
it almost
with having seen the image from the well and the videos even from how they're doing the installation at Roberts Road, I do think there's only going to be a single 450 in each lane now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like at first, I was really thinking that they would probably want to, but um,
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the two is the fact that if they had to, any one crane would only be able to hit 5 pairs of workstations because it wouldn't be able to go to its far end one because the other one would be sitting in it. So I think in the fact that breakover doesn't require two cranes, with the way they're going to configure that with the breakover device on the ground. So I don't know that there was ever really the more I thought about it, and then kind of the evidence was speaking that there's really no purpose for two, especially since with like the stacking cells having their own. Really, the main bridge cranes really are only going to be primarily moving full vehicles from one stand to another. I doubt that it's used for any of the smaller assembly
right?
processes.
Yeah, that makes sense. We did get some good views into Mega Bay 2 this week. Um, Actually, both of them, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, we do have ship 41 in this corner, I believe.
Yep, that's correct. Working on some heat tiles, and recently we saw it starting to get some RVACs as well.
Yeah, so I imagine, I mean, this is the only door on this stand, right? Like these are just windows, so this is the only side that engines would come in and out of,
Yeah, there is the only one which I thought was funny that how much clutter's in front of that door right now.
right?
But yeah, and then one of those previous images you could see we could see the straight in view. You could see that the raceways have been installed up on the work stand for ship 42 when it gets moved over. The It would be the positive Y flap on the right hand side, and from this vantage point. Is hidden. I don't think we had any shots around the corner, but it's staged and ready to go. And then the one on the left side of the stand was hung and positioned last night.
Where do they hang them
Or
from?
they hang him from that pedestal or that jib crane right there, and then they
Do
kind
they?
they just had I think they just kind of rest them down on the ground before they lift them
Okay,
up into place.
I've not actually seen footage of that before.
Yeah, I
I'd love
think
to see an angle
the
where.
staging. This is the second time we saw Ship 41 was the first time that we saw all of these. The flaps were staged on those jib cranes ahead of time. With Ship 40, we saw the raceways obviously were stationed up on on there, but then the aft flaps were just immediately put into place. when they're needed, as opposed to like being staged a week or two in advance.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for the raceways. It doesn't necessarily make sense for the flaps.
Well, I think it has some to do with the fact that prior to ship 40, these jib cranes weren't used to actually install the flaps. The flaps were actually installed with Shadow, the 1220. Now it seems like when they actually place them on the vehicle, they use these jib cranes, which I think is why they can pre-assemble it, as opposed to before, where obviously if you're using a mobile crane to install them and lift them in place, you wouldn't be doing it in advance.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wish we had a view. I wonder if I look at.
I'm just waiting for a day when they can actually like just put the flaps into position without a whole bunch of extra, because it's funny because they actually use the bridge crane. They use Shadow to lift the top of the aft flaps when they put them in there, and they use a bridge crane to support the bottom of it when they take it from horizontal to vertical. It seems to me like there should just be a way that they can like use the jib crane and
the
Shadow
whole thing.
and just do it all from one, but maybe there's not enough room with the right angle to clear the other stands or something.
Right. Oh. We got booster.
Tiny transfer.
Yeah. I didn't even see that one come out the other day.
Yeah, it kind of snuck in. Trying to remember, it was right in the same time frame as when Ship 42's aft section. I think it was just before the aft section of 42 came out. I think is when it snuck across in that horizontal position with as much stuff as going on with Gigabay and that fence line. It just barely is visible over the top of the fence.
Wait, sorry. Where's visible?
Wait, I mean the booster 22's transfer tube right there.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about something else.
No, I was just talking
Got
about
distracted
when
really quick.
I was talking about when I was just talking about when it moved into the bay a couple days ago.
Okay, gotcha.
But the door's been closed from I think from both the lab and NSF live streams. I don't think the door on Mega Bay 1's been open enough to confirm whether it's actually been installed into the LOX tank yet or not.
I have to step away for 2 minutes. Do you guys mind if I leave you on this really quick? Is that a good spot for 2 minutes? Probably not.
Probably the best of the build site areas. But yeah,
We
Starship
can move to
Park.
launch. Actually, we can, if any, you want to do questions and stuff really quick.
Sure, I'll do some questions. First off,
Yeah.
we'll start with donations. We want to thank Just Martin for his £5 donation, and he says, RGV choo choo. And then we also got a $10 donation from Yazada in chat. He says, thanks to Mauricio for a great Flight 13 week. It was a great Flight 13 week. We had 2 flyovers and 2 sets of ground photos. We have lots of photos. So if you are not a member, you should consider becoming a member, because that's a lot of photos that you get to look at. And you get to see the before and after of the launch, as well as during the launch, which was outstanding. And then for some questions for you, gents, I have a question from Nicholas. He's wondering, hey, could it be that SpaceX is planning to use the Gigabay as workstations or work platforms, similar to the VAB at Cape Canaveral in Florida, since they have those kinds of work platforms that can be moved up to the core stage of the SLS booster?
I don't think any of the access in Gigabay will have vertical movement. I am still on the fence on whether we'll see a static element that is on the interior of each cell, and then maybe an extension that somehow folds down from a wall to allow them to get that full 360-degree access. I'm not sure. We haven't seen any evidence of it at any of the locations yet to confirm or that may or may not be part of their plans.
It would be optimal if they did. Otherwise, they'd have to basically pick the vehicle up and move it around 180 degrees in order to access the other side if they need to do work there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see if they put any work stands that kind of clam shell around the inside, I guess, aisle side.
Yeah, I think I think to expand on it, the only thing that could make me think that they might not need to would be the fact that since the tiles are installed during stacking, I mean, obviously there's serviceability down the road, and maybe they'll have a station that is set up for rotating at 180 to work on heat tiles in a refurbishment environment where maybe the other side doesn't need it. But ideally, I think that it would be great to have some of those stations that do have 365, even if it's not all of them that have 360 degrees of access.
Nice. The rest of the questions all have to do with the launch, and then one launch site question. But we can talk about this. There was a question yesterday in show and tell. The pad on the left that they poured with that white streak in the middle. Do you think that that is for Hoppy?
That looks like it's a foundation for a building. Yeah, it's a grade beam around the perimeter.
What kind of building would it be? Like a
What?
like when you come, what is it called when you go to someplace and they have like the not the community center but the
Welcome center. I think it's going to be bathrooms myself, but that's just me.
oh that's a lot of bathrooms. Good. Hopefully they're all ladies' bathrooms. Never be a line. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting pad. I mean, I know we had a long discussion about what the plumbing that seems to be sticking up out of it is, and bathroom is definitely amongst one of the theories. But at the same rate, it seems to only have waste side. Now, granted, I guess they could keep all of the supply side in the walls where it doesn't need to be in the slab, but we'll have to see, I guess.
It's got an H on it. Wonder if they're gonna continue to always have the helicopter land on the like right at the roadblock. Be interesting to have a dedicated location for it to those operations.
But if they put booster and ship there vertically, won't a helicopter become a bit of a problem? Or no?
I don't think this is a helicopter stand, but I just saw the H, which made me think about that.
I mean, the way they're putting the walkways out, if they maintain that symmetry, it's looking more and more that they're going to be horizontal. At least in my opinion.
Wait,
I
what
would
do you
prefer
mean?
horizontal.
Yeah, I don't see enough room for them to be horizontal if they're doing a booster and a ship there.
Even side by side?
I mean, they would have to go between there's like the straight sidewalk and the parking lot for the highway. I mean, the vehicles would have to be further out there, I think, in order to be horizontal.
That's where I think they're going to be. But that's my opinion.
Up here? Wait, where?
Right between the sidewalk and the parking lot on the Highway 4 parking lot.
Yeah, the straight sidewalk.
Yeah, right through there.
All along it, or just?
I think. I mean, if they're putting them vertical, I mean, if they put them vertical, they run into the same issues that they said the reason they closed Rocket Garden is being able to safe them so that in winds they're not a hazard to the community, and that is a public highway.
Well, but also that's for flight vehicles, not necessarily display vehicles. Like they could definitely modify the vehicles to withstand the wind a little bit more. But I mean, the symmetry here implies to me that they might be vertical and go between the straight sidewalk and kind of the semicircle sidewalk. So you'd have like a booster on one side and a ship on the other, maybe. But I don't know, having the vehicles that far out from that building just seems a little weird to me, like from a design perspective. But it's certainly possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if they were storing multiple of them here, that would create a problem because the SPMT would have to straighten out in front of here in order to get in and out. That would cause roadblocks. Just
well, they're not
getting
storing vehicles here, Zach. But this is just a display thing.
Yeah, I think museum vehicles, not flight or not flight hardware.
I mean, I feel like this almost does make sense for Hoppy, if not for these. What are those? Is that conduit?
No, they're plumbing, drain pipe. And the silver is a linear drain, so there's going to be another sidewalk along.
Yeah,
Going.
I saw that yesterday. You can see if you look at the sidewalks that are poured up on the other side, you can see the linear drain in the middle of some of them. That long arch up there has one, and then I know there's a few places, but that dark strip at the top, the other end of that sidewalk, where there's that dark strip that contours that arc, that's a linear drain.
This.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you go to some of the other closer views, you can see that those drain pipes down there, you can actually see the linear drain attached to the one side of it. It kind of resembles the three manifolds that are on the OLM. Loosely resembles.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones on the very top of frame, you can really see where it's just a pipe and it has the two vertical walls.
I see what you mean. I guess you're right about these being planters.
Yeah, and it looks like they may put grass or a different surface on the flat portion of that roof.
You got the little drop down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grass would be pretty cool, actually. Or probably turf, I'm guessing.
Probably turf. You can plant it. But yeah, it's not deep enough. It doesn't look for turf.
I mean,
So
bringing a lawnmower up there would not be fun.
drones, man.
What would be the purpose of putting grass up there, though?
Viewing area so that you have people sit there and watch the launch.
Oh.
That's the other reason.
Well, if there's vehicles here, then it'll kind of be in the way of that, right?
I mean, it's a VIP viewing area where sight lines aren't as important as what they're serving.
That makes sense. Cool. I'll go ahead and move us over to lunch unless we have any other questions.
Nope, we're good.
Cool. I'll start us over at the ASU, actually, so we'll move through that kind of quickly.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot that's changed there. I think they've been.
I didn't think so. Are they doing final installation on this?
Yes, they are doing some things that SpaceX doesn't know how to do at their tank farm.
Properly insulate and clad.
Yeah, and considering that none of this is cryogenic yet, I mean, they'll just be hot for when they're recharging the adsorption beds. Yeah.
These are probably more wrapped just so for the purpose of people not burning themselves when they touch it.
Exactly. And they've installed the louvers, and on some of the ground shots, they're using Alpine roll-up doors, which have up to FEMA rates. Some of them are up to FEMA ratings. That's 250 miles an hour for tornadoes. So, as well as their Florida hurricane standard roll-up door. So
they basically have to be able to take storm surge and keep water out type thing?
Yeah. And handle the wind from the launch energy.
Right.
But yeah, they finished up most of the all the conduit work and the plumbing work
in here
for feeding it and hooking it up. Yeah.
Still not a lot of progress on the down this area. I feel like my mouse is dying. It's moving really weird.
Yeah. This has been taking forever.
Yeah.
And the chillers are starting to fade.
From the sunlight.
Yeah.
I guess not much else over here, right? All of this stuff has been filled in finally.
It's all filled in. They're probably trying to.
Got all the way down to the
The main power vault.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks like they're at
Yeah,
least pulling the
vault.
power cables in.
Yeah, that's pretty fast because this isn't even finished drying and they're already doing that. Must be in a rush to get this thing going.
Don't know
Space-
why.
SpaceX in a rush? Never.
Moving us over to the tank farm area on the opposite side. Not much new down here. I was looking earlier.
Yeah, more of that
But-
blast wall on the left is being removed by the offload area.
Yeah, full view of that area. This blast wall, yeah. So
Yeah.
probably. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting though they can't do a driveway here.
Yeah, the driveway is where that current slab is. At least that's where it's laid out. It's going to be.
You're talking about this.
Yeah, and then turn where
Yeah.
the old building used to be.
I'm surprised it took so long to get rid of this wall.
Until it's in the way, they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
like they took they took the like 6 or 8 feet of it away when they needed to get trucks through, but didn't take the whole thing when they could have.
Oh, was Marvin moving when this was during the flyover?
I think so. I didn't realize I got the A-frames up. A-frame installed.
Let's get a previous image to see if it was moving.
Yeah, we saw it move the other day. I forget what exactly the day it was. We saw it at Sanchez during that last flyover, and they've extended the A-frame over forward now, so that they can start reeving the winch to it.
Be nice to see that back operational.
And didn't the heel move yesterday, or was it the day
Yeah.
before? Yeah,
Yeah, it moved yesterday, so it's at the launch site now.
nice.
The heel? What's that?
The boom heel, the first section of the heel, or the first
Okay,
section of the
gotcha.
boom. I mean,
Yeah.
the other piece that was refurbed most recently.
Sorry, my mouse is doing all kinds of crazy stuff, guys. So curious here. We have all of this conduit coming through. I wonder if this is all the main conduit for the tower that's passing through here. I know I see obviously some of it's turning to go through to the tank farm area, but it seems like this might be passing through the tower.
It's probably all tank farm related. It's previously pivoted back around to the rest of most of the conduit that was in front here that they've been slowly interconnecting with the tank farm.
I guess the fact that it's coming this direction is a little bit confusing because it's like, how are you running?
I mean, they added the electrical went to the 4 new tanks a few months back. And I think this is for these 4.
But they're already using these tanks, right? So
Ish. They might not be fully plumbed in.
strange. So have you changed your mind on what you think the layout's going to be, Alex?
Nope. I think there's going to be 2 more nitrogen tanks there, and then adjacent to it, there'll be 4 more LOX tanks.
I just don't understand why the nitrogen is split.
It's a organic construction site that's constantly slowly been updated over time, sort of like building infill development. You have many steps to get to your final destination.
Yeah, I guess what we mentioned last time was being like kind of temporary holding tanks.
Right.
to pass over to these ones.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're going to need the buffer tanks as well for its ASU.
Right.
And
Yeah, it just still like every we talk about it every episode. It just still bothers me, these methane tanks over here, but I'm kind of hoping that they eventually go away.
You and a lot of people in chat too, Zach.
Yeah. I don't think there's really much else that they've done at the tank farm over the past week, though.
not really.
Yeah, other than prepare these foundations. So we'll probably see once they get this conduit finished. We'll probably see those new tanks come in. Do they have those new tanks at the port already? There's a ton of tanks at the port currently.
None of those are for here. I think so. There's 3 of them that we saw last week in the pass through the canals that are likely for here, and they're not due to offload, I think, till the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah, that I actually just tracked that BBC Olympus yesterday, and it's still down in Panama with I think the expected on the 31st.
Yeah, they're trying to limit the shipping volume through the canal for Lake Gatun issues and El Nino.
Wait, why are they limiting traffic? Is it
Yeah, because during El Nino they don't get as much rain, and so yeah, the
can't pull as much water from the is it a lake?
Yeah, it's a big lake. There's plans to enlarge it and to add a different dam off another river in the isthmus, but they haven't gone through yet.
I just saw Credence in the chat mentioned something that I was looking at earlier and confused about, the conduit going over this.
Yeah, we don't need to look at that very much.
But
it's like, why the footing's so low and the pedestals are taller, so that it's encased in concrete eventually.
Yes,
but they could have just waited. They could have just done this first and then done the. Well, actually, there's.
Or they.
I guess there are pilings under there, so they maybe couldn't go underneath it.
But they could have made a nice, concrete pillars for that and not use the metal.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll put a cover over it. Or maybe not. Does it dip back down right here too? Yeah.
Yeah. Elevation through here makes your eyes twitch if you start squinting and realize.
I wonder if they're finding, like, as they're digging down, like, finding different things that the old stuff that's still down there.
Oh, I'm sure. They're messes. They're future me problems they're finding.
Yeah. I noticed from one angle it almost looked like they had to put another wall down here, but I guess they didn't.
No, they're just recompacting the soil.
Yeah.
And they took apart the sheet pile rig has left, so there's that too.
So it's just ending here.
Yep.
But was that just because they just moved it away for the launch?
No, they took it down, and I think the whole crane left the site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more I thought about it recently, I wonder if it seemed to me that the sheet piles isn't there necessarily for the trench. It's more to shore up for the footings of the wall and whatnot when they because they only terraced the trench when they did the first one, so they probably don't need to.
That's why it's the same thing. They're just recompacting that area and they're protecting the toe of that blast wall. Right. But nobody listens to me, so it's whatever. Except for BJ, maybe. Sometimes.
Yeah, I listen.
Well, as of recently, I don't think I've actually listened to much of your kind of commentary because I've been busy with other things. So you probably did say it, and I would believe you.
Converging ideas, I like it.
I'm going to move us over to pad 1. Maybe. I actually don't want to start in the trench. I want to start on
Come
the
on, you
outer
have
stuff and work our way in.
you got to start at the bottom and work your way up. No, I'm kidding.
Except for I'm not sure that they are.
Okay, I guess we'll start in the trench because I was looking for like a wide view.
Oh,
Yeah, so as y'all can see, they have started doing the blinding layer on the ramp, one of the ramps, and still, what is going on down here?
they
They
put
have an
down a membrane,
underlayment. Yeah, membrane down there.
which is crazy.
What is it?
Fabric, like
It's
a
like
fabric of some sort.
A geotextile. And they're also putting gravel layer between it and the ground as well. I think it's a vapor barrier for waterproofing.
It looks like a mess down there.
I think it is. At first, I thought that that rat slab was done in the middle, but the more I look at it, the more I think they actually haven't, and that's just a lot of mud runoff that's down in there right now.
It is.
I just can't decide if there's a rat slab under the runoff or not. But I feel like I see the strips and seams from the membrane that says that they haven't put it down there yet.
No, it's not there yet. It's like this section they're getting ready to pour, which is
Funny that they're not doing just the whole thing.
yeah. Well, and they're not extending it all the way to the wall either, it looks like.
Yeah, what's up with that? Like, why not just go all the way across?
Why not start with the middle like they did on pad 2 and then do the ramps and do the one ramp first? I don't know. Why? Yeah, SpaceX, why?
Somebody, there's a construction manager who it makes perfect sense to.
All this rebar looks like just a hazard walking around it,
No.
sticking out at all these different angles.
Make sure you have a tetanus shot.
What is it? What is this? It looks like they broke out, like they maybe already had a concrete pad poured there and they broke it out.
Yeah, it seems like the 6 original launch mount leg piles. I think in one of them you could actually see what looked like it was still intact and hadn't been broken out. I think it was. I can't remember which one it was because I think I was looking at the reverse angle of it, but it looked like you could still see the square around it where it wasn't removed, and some of them are.
Oh, like the casing.
No, not really the casing. Just there was a small rat slab poured around it for some reason or another, and then removed.
I don't know if that's concrete or if that's some sort of hard structures that they were putting down and removing. Oh, no. No idea. Ignore
It
me.
doesn't look like concrete to me. It looks more like shattered tile of some sort. Like it's not
Yeah,
a concrete like material.
weird. Wait, this almost looks like they already poured it.
No, it's just a membrane.
Okay.
And they put some.
Parallax is really weird. So we did get the full bunker installed up here, which is cool. They think they already joined it together again. I think there
It
was
is.
a few. Yeah.
Yeah. The Lux Hood area never had the upper.
Go. Yeah, so I'm guessing that once they get these pullers poured, they'll start cranking out all of that plumbing on the inside. That definitely takes longer than most other stuff out here. It's just so much in this building. So nice to see that progress. And again, just way ahead on pad 37 as far as this goes. So like we were kind of saying earlier, it is a bit strange, the workflow that they have going between those two sites. We can see the walls. I don't think they've done much with these. They probably still welding on them, if I had to guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of welding.
Yeah, I mean, recently
There
they
must be
added
so
that.
many.
They added the third row on that one, the long ones on the left, and then the two short ones for between the legs are newer assemblies on the far left.
These ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have one
Yeah,
more
I was wondering
level.
if they would go up a third level, but I
Well,
guess not now.
the third level, well, the fifth level, which is the third level of two of those, is where the leg connects. So essentially, only the two that are outside the OLM can be done there, and then those middle ones get filled in. If you go to the reverse shot, you can actually see there's a step out where the top panel is wider than the bottom panel, and that's where the top one kind of rests on top of the leg base. So yeah, if you go to that short one on the very bottom, the bottommost one that's only 3 panels wide, you can see where the bottom panel is shorter than the top panel. Essentially,
Right.
the bottom is the same height as the third piece on that one that's on the long wall that's next to it.
Right. So
It's the
this is
same
where the
level.
leg pedestal sits right
Yep.
here,
Exactly.
basically right in here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy how fast this goes together.
Yeah, way faster than what we saw when they had to weld everything in place down below.
It'd be funny if they end up. I mean, I guess that I don't think they can move this like that, but I was gonna say it'd be funny if they end up moving all of this to 37. They've also been building some other wall sections down here. I'm guessing this is for the tower, though.
Those are probably for the ramps.
Yeah, I was trying to decide if it's some of the ramps or if there's some of those panels that are not where the two walls are not parallel to each other, where they taper. I almost felt like maybe the tapered ones were the ones they're building, but
The tapers are the short ones. There's a two right by those are
Right
the
here.
those all those short ones are the tapers, because the taper section is they're shorter than the full height panels.
okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen many of those arrive by ground images, so I couldn't quite tell those ones that they're building on site. I just thought it was kind of interesting that they've decided to fabricate some of them on site instead of having them trucked in.
Yeah, that's what makes me think that these are for the. So keep trying to find a better view of them, but that's what makes me think these are for the tower.
Well, the tower, I mean, the tower's already
No,
clad, and
yeah.
we already seen all the other pieces that are the drawworks assembly areas are already staged over there by the tower.
I think I'll be able to see them in that image, or would I? Maybe. There we go.
Yep.
But these are for the outside, right?
They're the back one. They're essentially a tall and a short one are that extension from the pedestal to come around. You can see the embeds down on the ground that kind of have
Oh,
that piece
okay.
right, the dog leg. And then that fifth piece that's there is the back center one. It's
This
one
one right
piece.
here is this side.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That would be for that side. That one would be the base for the other side. And then there's a shorter piece that extends them to the full height.
Okay. Yeah. I keep forgetting that they have the steel on the back side of this already. I was for some reason thinking they were gonna wrap it around.
Yeah. The concrete's already steel clad already there. So I don't think we'll see anything new there because we did see in some of the Cape images that the concrete base of 39A seems to be getting that same treatment as what this tower got.
Oh, did they remove the whole base, the whole drawworks area?
No, no, it's not talking about how how back before I forget what flight it was when they put all the steel plate on the front of the concrete tower base.
Yeah, I
They're
got
doing
you.
the same. They're doing the same thing at 39A because it's got a concrete base.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, down in this area, we can also see them still assembling these pipe racks, which is pretty cool to see. Um, He'll probably have all of these ready to go by the time that trench is dug. They'll just be sitting here waiting to be installed. You can see more racks back here as well too. I mean, this looks like it's going to be. It almost looks like it's going to be a longer run than Tower One's, but or sorry, Tower Two.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide
And I keep
the
forgetting
sheer
water
number
farm
of
is
those
supposed to be here, right?
Yeah, there's two elevations to that. There's also the second elevation that will have the five Fire X lines and the potential the mystery deluge pipe.
Oh yeah, good point. So there might be another row on top of these, basically,
Yes,
or next to them.
exactly. Probably on top.
Yeah, the way they're staging them on there, it seems like they could they would most likely just have them and then put some legs between them to stack them up for easy install.
See some legs here, or
Well,
mounting points for those.
Those are the lifting points.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, so those are those eyes that we bet that when all this stuff arrived, we were so confused on what all that steel with the eye attachments were.
It's pretty cool having all this stuff going on simultaneously. Is there anything else down in this area as well? I haven't really gotten a chance to.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
an
see, this
image
makes
that
no
shows
sense to me.
the building of them here, yeah. And then that's all the beams that are for the drawworks back area that go with all the speed core.
Like, there's got to be a reason that they did this here. I wonder if it's because they wanted the shop to like focus on cranking out the ones for 37, so they just had sent all the raw material down here.
They might be the non-standard size panels that they need to make the difference for the trench elevation for
Yeah,
Tower 1, OLM, and all that
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah. I wonder if that is the case. I could have swore I saw one that looked like it was already like pre-assembled with that extra piece on because we saw we saw some ground images that were taller than the rest. I almost thought that was those ones, but I could have been wrong too.
what's going on with this? It's just for squaring it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like they're building one on each side of it, so it's kind of a
alignment.
jig.
Almost like
Yeah.
a rack.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm not missing any other cool things down here. Over on the other little extension area, not much over there either. Still mostly just being used for storage and pre-assembly of some components. I don't think there's anything of interest necessarily down here. This from the chopsticks?
I think that was
No,
the
that's from
SQD arm.
yeah, sorry.
I think with the line, I think they're still in the process of kind of unpacking all that stuff from because they kind of pack it all up and get everything tight in for launch. I think they haven't kind of resituated all that back into functional areas.
That's got to be super annoying having to do that every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, speaking of the SQD arm, it does look like they're actually getting ready to rig up the arm on Tower 1 to remove that possibly today or tomorrow.
Are you looking at the live stream?
Yeah, the current live stream cameras are showing the rigging in place.
Yep. Indeed.
So with all this cladding, I did notice that the tower at 37 has cladding going up higher than what currently is happening on pad 2. So I wonder if they are truly going to increase height or if they're still replacing panels. Because I know I can't remember who was thinking that they were going to replace the black panels on pad 1. That's what this was for. But I have a feeling they're going to keep holding out hope that they're going to go higher up on the tower.
Is this a cladding for the roof?
No, that's
No,
tower. That's tower cladding.
Okay. I didn't realize the tower cladding was reinforced on behind it as well.
Yeah, so I think, hold on, let me look at this side really quick. There are a lot of black panels that I'm guessing maybe would be replaced. But yeah, that actually does seem more likely now that I think about it.
They do have a little bit of a hodgepodge of the paneling here because they added and removed and put pieces like they're no longer. You can kind of see how they're interlocking a little bit. Like right, yeah, the row that you had your cursor on. If you compare that to the row below it, there's different pieces. Like the two top rows don't actually have the angle inward part. I don't believe on that left side because those are actually kind of 3 units wide. Those are only a regular 2 unit wide, which means they typically go in the center. So the two top rows will probably come off if I had to guess, and they'll probably put new pieces in there at the very least.
I think they might as well do all of them, all the black ones, just so because they don't paint these ones. So
They'll get their own patina soon enough.
true. Well, I'm still gonna hold out hope because I want to see more cladding. Moving over to pad 2 area and getting us back to talking about flight 13 as well. It does look very much the same, I would say. I don't really notice any new um, like scorch marks other than kind of on this front corner, but even so, not really. It just the holes just seem more visible than before.
Just more scaling. That's about it.
You know what's funny is that the there's more paint peeled off of this than there is on off of like the hoods.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I
But the
like
hood
seeing
was
these
peeling
arms
even
retracted so we can
before.
see the ring wall. What was that?
The hood was peeling even before the launch. The little ones
Well, this
inside
was
were not.
this happened from flight 12, most of it. I can't. I'd have to go compare it to see if it got any worse. It doesn't necessarily look worse than before. I think this is mostly from flight 12.
Yeah, it kind of hardly changed between 12 and 13. So I'm going to guess that the issue with the paint falling off on that is probably more of a surface prep issue that kind of a one and done, and what fell off, and it may get a little bit marginally worse over time, but I don't think it's directly related to subsequent launches.
So kind of like the reflecting pool. Um, yeah, the back side of these hold down arms look pretty good. You can see some scorch marks right here on this one. Kind of. Oh yeah,
You know,
there's like all the paint missing here.
I'm always pretty baffled by what actually gets seemingly hot here, or the paint comes off because it's odd that the underside of those arms seems to get a lot darker, maybe more paint falling off, more charring compared to the hoods themselves. Because you kind of expect, I mean, especially maybe on that kind of top corner when the stack kind of pitches away from the launch mount and tower. Um, it does kind of you'd think that you'd see more burning on the hoods over there, but
Yeah,
they look very untouched compared to the arms below. So it almost seems like a lot of that charring has to do with the right after ignition when all that energy and the deluge underneath maybe is reflecting a little bit up, that's when that damage actually occurs, or even maybe the static fires as well. Um, that seems like that's what does a lot of the damage there versus the actual launch itself.
yeah. Is there another? Let's see, another angle of that of this side. There we go. Well, I mean, these four right here are like the only ones where I can see that the hoods look any different. So it almost looks like this right here is the most interesting part, I think. It's like the one part of the whole ring wall that seems completely.
Depends how much thrust vectoring they're doing when they're coming off the pad.
Yeah, it does seem abnormal for that one specific panel to be darker than the rest. You'd kind of think it'd be a little bit more of a gradient given the size, but yeah.
I feel like the pad next to the launch mount looks like it's uh, getting more beat up than anything else, but I don't know if that's just the surface texture because of this. I think this is Fondag, right? So I think that
Yeah.
might be.
That all looks like that wonderful Fondag look.
Yeah, I'm wondering that spare line in there. I guess at pad 37 they did put the new valve in up here.
At 39, you mean? Right?
Yeah, what did I say?
37. But
Did I
yeah,
say 37?
I noticed that the valve was that valve and that connection is made at 37, though there's nothing on the
Yeah.
other end yet.
It's wonderful. Maybe see them do that here, but that might be something that happens after pad 1 comes back online. Yeah, like I said, it's really just wild how overall nice the pad looks. Like, yeah, I mean, it's compared to what we see after launches on pad 1, um, where you could just see damage pretty much all over the place. Like, you really have to look very hard to find anything out here.
Yeah, I think for me, as far as scorch marks are concerned, I think that blackening at the top of the blast wall is probably the most difference from pre and post launch in terms of effects.
What are
And
you
we
talking
kind of
about
see
here?
it in that one drone footage,
You're talking about
on
Twitch wall?
the blast wall to the deluge farm.
Did they paint that?
Mm-mm. That little square is what they painted that square that, but all of that charring at the top is new, and you can actually in the drone footage that
Wait, I
SpaceX
thought they
released.
painted it all the way over to
Yeah,
down
that's
here.
all paint that got
No.
blasted off.
Yeah, the top part is the paint, the black paint they put on the wall, and the bottom is just gray, probably just from spray or whatever.
Need to compare photos because I was looking at a photo that didn't show that. But maybe I'm misremembering when they did that paint.
They pull those from the chopsticks, or are those new for the chopsticks?
I think they're new, but I don't know for sure. I think it's funny that there's 3 of them.
That's a bit special.
Yeah.
See it in this one? Yeah, so it was. Uh-oh. This might be the only angle I can see it. So yeah, so just paint it all the way to the bottom, to the ground. Or it was.
Yeah. It's a little toasty over there.
Which is surprising. Actually, during the if I pull up the some of the footage from SpaceX, which I'll pull up here. This view was, oh god, the way that you can see the plume jetting out over there, right
Poor,
there. That's really cool.
poor
Yeah.
tower as it's getting blasted.
Yeah, so you can see like the way it's like, you can see it hitting the wall right there too. This like few frames right here is really cool. If I like try and back up dang it, back up a single frame.
You'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I love that little the way you can see it clipping off the tower on both sides.
Because you're also seeing it reflect off the deck going towards the tower
Yeah,
there too. So that's
because
not
I think that's
necessarily
what's
like,
happening though. It's
yeah,
the water. It's following the water.
yeah, you're getting some recirculation down along the tower base, but you're also getting just the deflection right off the top of like the mount deck that's shooting then towards the tower. So that's the primary like split that we can kind of see right there at the plume.
This is such a crazy shot.
I was really surprised that they actually put the drone that close during liftoff. They switched that camera, and I was like, "Uh-oh." It's like this drone's not going to last very long. But yeah, they flew right by it, which was
Look at the way,
pretty
just look at the
incredible.
way it's hitting that wall back there. It's crazy. You can almost see the paint burning You can see this like smoke coming off of it. That's hilarious. Awesome shot. Look at the other ones too. Wonder if you can see it coming off from this side. Nope.
Yeah, right about there.
Yeah, you can't really tell.
A lot of afterburn going.
But what's this? Is that coming off of over the wall, or is that
That's the
on the
deck.
That's the
launch deck?
deck. That's the
Yeah.
I
deck.
think I think the brighter one at the top is the deck, and then there's another kind of fainter one just below it that's probably the wall.
Wow. Yeah, that interaction lasts for so long. But looking at it, you can't even tell. I mean, I feel like our days of worrying about the longevity of the structure are probably over. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's the way it's proven itself is just extremely impressive. I think the part that may be at most at risk in the future is the hold down arms themselves and this inner wing wall face. Um, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't put panels on this like they did originally with the R&D launch mount. Um,
It probably doesn't get enough heat flux to justify it.
Well, I mean, from the beginning, I always kind of wanted to see holes just drilled on the bottom of the deck that shot down along that
yeah,
plane. I was honestly expecting that in some of the SpaceX video, whether it be like the documentary or just a post on X, that we would kind of see water spraying down. But unfortunately, we haven't seen anything. So maybe
we would
that's the
know.
future.
We would know a long time ago because when they prime up the deck, it would spill out. You wouldn't be able to fully prime the deck.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason, which I'd kind of thought up a couple of ways they could prevent that from happening. Honestly, it'd have to be internal to the plate itself, um, but yeah, I was kind of hoping they would have done something with that, but I think that it may be a little too far gone now to do that.
Is it heat?
Like spring weather nozzles or something.
Is that heating even a problem? Let's back up. Cooling something for the sake of cooling it, if it is steel can heat up, it's not a problem. Stainless steel, you can heat it up to like 1500 degrees before it loses structural integrity. Is it ablating off? If it's not, then who cares? Or if it's ablating at a rate that's low enough that you're going to have to refurb the launch mount in that interim. I mean, this is a wear surface. You expect a certain amount of wear. Just they have limited resources here as well. So how much water are you going to import in for each of your launches to mitigate something that may not even require mitigation? I mean, that's the whole art of engineering is right there, is getting your efficiency up, and cooling something for the sake of cooling it just isn't something that you do. That's gratuitous. I mean, look at your car's exhaust manifold. It's a prime example. If you have a running turbocharger, they're glowing most of the time.
Yeah, very true.
It's expected. You design around it. You expect that, and you move on with your days. You go, oh, we have a little magnetite forming. Oh well, so does everybody's stainless steel skittle or pot pans are that color. Oh well, is it a problem? Probably not. 600 plus degree steam is is a horrible substance to deal with.
Around down here.
The pumping and stopping, pumping and stopping, pumping and stopping.
It's gonna be interesting to see like the character on each wall because they're all completely different.
Yeah.
This is interesting here because I could have sworn I'm gonna have to go back and look. I thought this was black all the way down.
If it's scaling, some of it'll erode away.
Let's look at the opposite side.
I thought there was always kind of a little bit of a gap there, but
Was it? Oh, because there's one on that side too. I don't think there's very many images of this corner right here. Even in previous weeks, I've been trying to find that corner. Kind of difficult to see it though. Let's see. Maybe this one? No. Oh well, I give up.
You're talking about the very top of the bunker wall?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to see it from looking in from the side. But
Oh,
there's not a very
inside
good
the
angle of it.
trench.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at. I was looking at because Mauricio's got good ground images from the 20th and 25th as well. So I just looked up the before and after of that paint on the blast wall because it was bothering me. But yes, it was painted, but none of the paint is on there anymore. It all got burned away. So I think my point about this char at the top is stands. It's the charred paint.
Yeah, I was curious why they even painted it in the first place, but I guess maybe they're just trying to see if it would survive. I don't know.
It looked good.
I'm curious what caused this because the black was all the way across.
Yeah, but they did some kind of paint prep under that segment because in Mauricio's ground image, you can see the color difference in that area even before the launch.
That's odd. What are these?
Um,
Are these from the chopsticks or the wait?
yeah.
those are those
Yeah,
those are
torsion
for
bars
pad-
that we've talked
Right, for
about
pad
before.
one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the night after the launch, they were immediately working underneath the just chopsticks in those areas. So I don't know if
For
there's-
pad 2?
yep,
Okay.
yeah, they were grinding away. There's tons of Barky waterfalls.
Wait, so hold on. Are these are the ones for pad 1 or are they replacing
I
the ones for pad 2?
I think they're doing work on Pad 2. At least that's what post launch they were active working on the sticks, but there's no crane out here yet. So
That's strange. So as far leading up to the next flight, I feel like it's going to be a lot faster than this most recent one. Um, as far as launch site stuff goes, it seems like there's less to do this time around. Really, the only thing that they need to do out here uh, is finish this line, which may involve running a new pipe all the way up the tower.
yeah,
I wish we could see them do that because we never get to actually see how they get those up in there. I guess they just use like come-alongs up in here to raise the pipes up, but I would like to actually see them do that.
currently when we've seen them at it, they just weld it to the outside as like on Pad 1. So hopefully they do run it
Oh,
on the
God.
interior.
You see this right here? Let me look at a side profile of this.
No, please don't. Please be part of the Drawworks.
They're going all the way down.
Well, there's only
Are these
two of
new?
them. There's only two of those that are sticking out. You're
Agreed.
confusing. The other two are separate.
But what are these new?
No, that's all four of those arms are part of that guide block for the Drawworks.
Okay, thank you, BJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was having more than a moment.
Yeah, because when you said they would mount them on the outside, I'm like, they wouldn't do that. And then
Yeah, they have. They definitely have on Pad 1. Hopefully
Hopefully they don't here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised actually, because it would be the easiest thing to do since this is already right here. Just run down the side of the tower. But
Please.
I mean,
I
we
think.
wouldn't really notice it.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
we would
mean,
'cause it'd be all frosty.
yeah, they could just load it in and put it in short sections and weld it in place up with
Right.
chain blocks and come alongs.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Anything else that I missed here? Like that's what I was trying to say was that as far as we know, pad wise, that's probably the main thing that they have to do leading up to this next launch. They obviously do have all of the scaffolding out here, um, ready to go back up on the launch mount. But I can't really imagine what work they might have to do.
I mean,
I think it's mostly
technically,
just like inspections.
they probably don't need to complete that if they don't want to. Like if they want to prioritize stuff related to catching the ship, if they still decide they want to do that, I would imagine that work, like any of the arm work, is probably a priority over doing that pipe.
The 2 welders at the base and all those plates.
These almost look like something for like pipe racks with the cutouts right here.
Mm-hmm.
Try and find a better top down or closer view. Is this like a circular? Yeah, I mean, this almost looks like they're pipe racks.
Well, the opposite side looks like it has a little tab sticking up that I don't think we can maybe see. They almost look like they're symmetrical from end. Well, maybe not.
They look like they're going to be mounted like
No,
It does kind of look like it could, yeah, mount and then
on
reach
the
out.
outside of here somewhere.
don't.
I wonder if these are two separate pieces right here because it
It
looks like
almost. Yeah.
The
like
ones
there's
on
a
that
split right
top
down the
pallet
middle.
definitely are. Yeah, those look split too.
Yeah, I might get something kind of ugly looking there, Alex.
No. That's
Yeah, the way that that seam is in the middle, it almost looks like they're the same thing. We just can't see that tab on the
Yeah,
face.
it's just like flipped.
Yeah, they look like they're mirrored.
There's quite a lot of them too, so that'll be interesting. Let's see. Anything else that I missed down here? I feel like we kind of pretty much covered everything. One of the things I was happy to see with that scrub was that they were able to finish the ball, which was good because I was worried that with the way that it was before this, that it would end up some of that formwork would end up falling off. But in the week that they had, they ended up finishing that wall. Why?
There's definitely some ugliness going on that wall, though. Like some of the ground images, the top is a little iffy. I don't know if they messed up, but yeah, that notch is kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
why? Is there a better side profile of that?
My guess is that the other side might get cut, they might cut the top off the other side because I think it's only I think the new wall is probably matching the height of the wall on the other side that used to have the sign, and that other wall is from the old days because it's got that angle on it on the. I mean, it's not the same height all the way across either.
Wait, did the paint on this wall survive? It
yeah.
Yeah.
kind of did. Yeah. Have we still seen? Have we seen preps for another sign on there?
I think any ground images I saw after the scaffolding went away, it looked like they just kind of patched up all the holes and whatnot, and that's it for now. Anyways.
Boo.
Well, I guess that's not all that surprising, though.
No. They got the photo up.
If they were going to do anything, I would maybe expect them to just paint it and look like white paint and call it good.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it seems a little tricky. I mean, not that you couldn't do it, but it kind of seems a little wasteful to just exert a bunch of engineering to put a sign on back on that wall when there's always that risk that it's going to just blow off.
That's kind of funny, Ryan. Considering.
Look at this scar right here from the. You can see like the heat.
That area gets abused.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll try and fill this in at some point, though.
That's Texas land.
It's not part of the swap, right?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
never mind.
that's part of the land they originally were wanting to trade for, and then they got a better offer from the feds for that 500 acres.
Not surprising. Indy, do we have any questions from the chat? Let's see what time
We
is it.
do. We have lots of questions, actually. We'll start with the ASU questions. Actually, we'll start with donations. We want to thank Crane Man donated $10 and says, joining the donation train, awesome flyovers, regards Crane Man. Thank you so much, Crane Man. And then Turtle Sanctuary donated $10 and says, iTwitch drops refill fund. Thank you so much, Turtle Sanctuary. And then we have some questions. We'll start with the ASU. DMHMT is wondering, what is the heat exchanger for on the north side of the cage on the ASU?
They're just vaporizing some nitrogen to help cool the water for efficiency.
We're talking about.
They're the heat exchanger by the pipeway right there, right by
This one?
the yeah. They're just vaporizing some unnecessary product to help cool the water, to cool the coolant.
Wait, but they're not.
Yes, they are. If you have excess material product, you might as well use it for something, and you're going to have a abundance of nitrogen in the liquefying of oxygen. So yeah, they're just
Right.
using
Okay.
it to help cool some of the intercoolers.
Cool. Next question.
James is wondering, when do they expect the ASU operational? Is it the end of this year?
I mean, it was supposed to be like this month, but obviously not. The original construction I think it was supposed to be at the end of July, but they probably have another couple months left. They still have to build their whole privacy / blast wall and finish the water cooling.
So probably next year?
Probably a couple months. And they still have to do the duct for running the locks and Lynn across the street.
They also need electricity, right? Power?
Yeah. I mean, they have power. Whether or not they have enough power to run it is more of the question.
Yeah, Dave was saying that they don't have enough power to run.
They do and they don't. They if pad 1 was operational, they wouldn't be able to, but because it's not, they can use power pad 1 supply temporarily.
It's
essentially is what they're doing.
It's the same issue they have at 39A, where the whole reason they have all the megapacks 39A is they have enough to keep those topped off. They don't have enough to run the actual pad operation during a Starship launch sequence, so they run it off of the megapacks. So it's a similar thing here. The continuous draw of the launch side is low. Is just during flight operations it gets
extremely high.
Yeah, running all the pellet pumps. So you put in a bank of megapacks and you keep those charged up, and then you have enough supply to run your launches. And in the interim, the ASU would just be humming along, doing what it does, which is just use a lot of electricity.
Moving on to the tank farm, Crane Man is wondering, is the height of the tank pedestals different on purpose for draining? The older tanks look lower than the new positions.
What's the height of the tanks?
Yeah, it's the least of the. I mean, these ones do look like they're raised up a little bit. I imagine there's probably something that's going to go underneath them. There's something underneath pretty much all of these, but
Yeah.
Alex, aren't those tanks slightly bigger in capacity than the original ones too? Slightly.
I mean, these
I
might.
heard that.
they're identical.
I thought these were all 950s. These all look like chart tanks. They don't look like, because the new ones that they have that they brought into Massey's are slightly larger. I forgot now the name of the Turkish company, just fell out of my brain. Yeah, they're slightly larger tanks. Is it Aerotech? Yeah, those two I think are 1,000 cubic meters, so they're like nominally bigger, 50 cubic meters bigger.
Okay, so the bigger ones weren't associated with that. I remember hearing it at some point, but maybe I just misunderstood which ones were slightly bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of those is equal to that vertical tank with the two vaporizers, with like two of those and one of the existing tanks. I think those are right around 30 cubic meters.
These?
So yeah.
I have to go check the ones from 39A because they're actually labeled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
slightly larger than that, but yeah.
Okay, then one of those plus one of the chart tanks equals one of the Aerotech.
Cool. Any more launch site questions?
Yep. Got one more for the ASU. Will you be able to tell when the ASU is running? Abby's is wondering.
Oh, yes. There'll be noising gases.
And no more tankers.
That too.
That'll be the dead giveaway. Hashid is wondering, when will the old launch pad be ready for the upcoming Starship catch?
No.
Will that be ready for the upcoming start? What?
Pad scrap. Will pad scrap be ready for the upcoming Starship catch?
Pad
No.
what?
Pad
What is that?
Pad scraps. Pad 1. The scrappy pad.
Oh. Okay, I was like, I've never heard that before.
What? Really?
No, I haven't.
Yes, the R&D site.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't use pad 1 for that. I think we expected the opposite to happen, that if they made it to their first catch attempt for the ship before they retired pad 1, that they would use tower 2, but I don't think the opposite is even possible. There's just too much stuff in the way, especially because they catch over the launch mount, so you don't want to do that over the trench. So yeah, we probably won't see that.
I mean, they don't have actuators on the arms right now for pad 1, right? Like there's like physically no way they can move under anything other than a bulldozer and a chain.
Right. And don't even have the cables up for the dozer, I don't think, right?
All right. Niall is asking, not Niall, but Niall Bandian is asking, how's the flame trend holding up so far in your assessment? Is it showing signs it can actually be indefinite use, like it was in the show, in the SpaceX doc episode 2? I believe it was. Pros, cons?
I don't know if that question came in after we got here, but yeah, I mean, I think I've kind of put my opinion on that. What do you guys think?
Well, I think I said on a previous stream as well that, I mean, you're not going to get to zero maintenance on anything ever. Like you can probably do multiple launches without major maintenance, with this design. But I think eventually you're going to have some amount of maintenance you have to do, especially when you're dealing with something as powerful as this. There's just so much going on. But for the most part, I think they've probably gotten themselves considerably closer to that goal of kind of a zero touch refurbishment between launches, way more than they had been prior.
So Niall has another question. They're wondering what needs to happen or be upgraded to stage 0 to significantly increase the flight cadence, like say flight 1 a week, like one flight a week, and stage 0 endure cadence for a long time.
I think
I mean, that's the goal. I
I
don't think
think
we
they could
know.
do one flight a week right now with the current launch mount.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing! Wow.
Yeah,
But if we have SpaceX, they can do it every hour.
I mean, there's a ton
well,
of other stuff that has to be in place for them to, increase the cadence beyond a certain threshold. Like obviously the major rework to the launch mount and the tower, like that's the current limiting factor on launches probably. Well, honestly, right now it's vehicle availability. Beyond that, if they have unlimited number of vehicles, it's going to be any refurbishment they currently have to do to the launch mount or the tower. Once they get past that threshold, then it becomes a commodity threshold as well. So they're attacking that on many fronts, and it's going to progress to a point where I think fairly rapidly next year, I think we're probably going to see, a launch a week probably.
That would be super cool. So those are all the questions. Those are all the questions for what we've been looking at. There's a lot of questions about the launch. Are you up for those?
Yeah, sure. We can take a few of them. I did want to get more into the lunch, but I'm kind of hitting my time limit because I have a few things I got to do before the Sunday's over. So
Do you want to talk about the launch a little bit more, and
yeah,
then we can hit the questions?
let's just do the questions if they're launch related. We can touch on 'em.
Okay. So the first question is from Moody Blues. He's wondering, will a mishap report be required?
I mean, technically, the ship hitting the water and not exploding is a mishap per their license. So until they put the 50 cal and sink it, um,
The booster probably requires one, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. It definitely actually scratch that. Yeah, it'll be required. I bet Monday we'll see. Yeah, it'll be required because it didn't get anywhere near where it was supposed to be.
I thought it landed exactly where it was supposed to be.
Oh
That's
no,
what
Definitely
everyone
not.
was saying.
no,
No?
oh no,
Oh.
no. It was way off. Still,
Ew. Lev is wondering, I think something fell off from the aft of the booster, and when they were showing the aft, there was a leak. Can that be the reason why boost back was short and B-20 failed landing burn?
so I think the leak that people are referring to is some of the vapor that was seen during that kind of aft camera on the booster that kind of looked out at the engines. There was some vapor falling down near one of the engines on one side. It was more visible, probably due to the lighting. That appears to be purging and not actually like a leak from the tank. Um, it seems to be the purging related to the. They do have kind of coverings over the electric TVC actuators, and it appears like that region is actually purged in flight. So they're not at zero purging on the vehicle. There's definitely still some purging occurring, and that appears to be just the dump from that purging.
Craneman's wondering, in the SpaceX video of the launch, one or two of the engines look to be far less bright. Are they a lower thrust?
Not sure. I haven't really seen that. I'm guessing. I don't know if that was in like the ground, one of the which angle he saw that from. If that was like from this, but I don't know how to answer that myself. Honestly, I don't think you could really know without being able to see like telemetry or SpaceX actually coming out and telling us. Um, I think there's a lot of times where we see different characteristics between engines. Um, and like I said, it's really hard to know if something's running under thrust.
Fair enough. Missing Tools is wondering, how did we get some flat cam views if the Starlink antennas were face down in the water?
because they weren't actually all face down in the water. There's 4 antennas on the ship. 2 of them are on the leeward or steel side, and then there's 2 that are placed actually within the tiles on the sides, and those were actually above the water's surface, so they were able to shoot signal out kind of sideways um, from from splashdown, and we might even be able to see them. Actually, yeah, you can on the camera. You can actually see where they are right there, at the top left-hand corner. There you have your catch point, and then further to the left, you've got the actual Starlink antenna. So that was above the water level when they were floating in the water. So that's how those views were able to be live streamed back.
That was so cool to see that. Livin is wondering, with intentions to catch a ship next flight, do you think the ship production will slow down due to Ship 41 occupying a workstation in Mega Bay while it's being examined post-flight?
I don't think anything's going to slow production down.
There's
Go ahead.
4 there's 4 stations in Mega Bay 2 to have ships being worked on, so not yet.
And if they need to, they can stop work, on one, that's fully stacked, move it out in the garden temporarily, and then move it back in or trade. It'll be, probably similar. Like, obviously, there's a limit on how many they can work on at one time. It'll probably be similar back toward the end of like the version 2 era where they had, they'd park boosters outside for some amount of time while they were doing other things. It could be a situation like that, but um, yeah, it'll probably take them a while to really, dig deep into whatever ship they catch for the first time.
Nice. We just got a $50 donation from Robert F. Thank you so much for the $50 donation. He says it's for gas money. We appreciate it. Mauricio's been using a lot of gas, so we really, really appreciate it. Another question for you. Colin Smith is wondering, are there not weather windows in Florida? That means they want stuff buttoned up there first?
Is this in reference to like the Gigabay or something?
Probably, yes.
I mean, it rains all year long down there, so I think that's part of the motivation for how quickly they've been trying to get the cladding up. But um, yeah, I mean, that's probably a concern really anywhere, honestly. But uh, I don't think it's. I don't think it. I don't know if this question is related to like why they went faster on the one in Florida than here, but um, in that regard, I think part of the reason they are moving faster on that one is because they need it operational before they need this one because they don't have any workstations at all, whereas Starbase already has operational workstations. So
And I'll put a comment on that. When you look at the comparisons of start and stop dates, they're actually neck and neck with each other, even though they're farther ahead because they started first over there.
Nice. Ziggy's wondering, Ship 40 is not on the tracker anymore, so I guess it died. What do you guys think happened to it?
I think we kind of went into that a little bit earlier, but at this point, the batteries are probably depleted. But I think at the point where that tracker stopped updating the positions, I don't think that necessarily was when the batteries may have ran out. I think they might have taken the telemetry away from publishing at some point, just so that there's a lot of reasons why you might not want to be publishing that constantly.
Mm-hmm. But people are following the boat that was with it when it landed. They still think it's floating because of where the boat is. It's still on that same float trajectory, I think. But who knows?
Yeah, maybe one thing to add with that is it is floating in the opposite direction from Australia. Pretty much all of the ships, when they've splashed down, blown up, there's been major pieces that'll float, but it has been floating away from Australia. So if the boats are moving away from Australia, they're still tracking a rather large object in the water, which would imply that that's ship 40. Because otherwise, there's really no reason for them to hang out there. They'd come back to Australia, back to port. So they're either observing it, taking more data from it, whether scrapping pieces off of it while in the water, or potentially even coming up with a plan to try and drag it back to Australia.
Right on. Now I was wondering again, what is your assessment of Booster's landing? I know it's a new design, but it was great at landing before with V2. Is it performing as expected? Better? Worse? Next flight perfect landing? Question mark.
I mean,
Well,
V3 is almost a clean sheet redesign of the aft section. So some teething, and their boost back profiles changed. They've done, it's almost apples to orange in my opinion. But sorry, Ryan, what you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was basically going to say the exact same thing. I mean, pretty much the only common thing between previous boosters and this booster is the fact that it's made out of stainless steel rings. There's so much that's different. I mean, from internals to the engines to just the way that they're handling the pressure vessels themselves. I mean, the internal tanks are totally a different layout, a different design. There's a lot of differences in that design that could bring up areas that they may not have had data to kind of project how the design should work. The landing burn definitely was a little interesting. I think not knowing any information about how or why, it does kind of look eerily similar to what happened with Booster 10, where they didn't exactly have enough pressure in the landing tank to start up all the engines. So like initially you get a couple that start up fine, but you're not able to pressurize enough quickly enough to allow for those other final engines to start up. And then there was a couple that shut down, which could also maybe align with that theory that maybe they weren't seeing proper inlet pressure, so they down selected a few of them. And then you only had a couple that were running in the end that weren't able to slow it down enough before it hit the water.
Right on. And last question is from Niall again. He's wondering, he's planning on coming to Starbase from Europe in February, March 2027. He's wondering what the launch cadence, what you all think the launch cadence will be like during that time, by then.
I don't think we'll go without longer than a month without seeing launch from here on. So that's about the best guess I can give on that. There's a lot of things that affect it.
Yeah, I mean right now they really got to get boosters back. I mean, boosters take a while to build. The ship building is definitely picking up pace quite a bit, and booster is as well. I'll mention that. I mean, they're building the boosters now basically as quickly as they did with B19 when they kind of swarmed like half the company to accelerate that build timeline. So they're definitely picking up pace, but they definitely do need to start getting the boosters back, or that's going to probably start being their limiting factor for launches. So yeah, I would say a pretty confident next year, especially like in the second half of the year, that we'll probably go. I would be shocked if we go more than a month without a launch.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. That is it for all of the questions.
Perfect. Well, yeah, like I said, I would have liked to gone into the launch a little bit more, but I think I may have to hit my hard stop for today. So we'll probably save that a little bit more for the Tuesday show. And I think we have lots coming up this weekend. Mauricio is going to be out there doing ground shots multiple times this week, so be on the lookout for that as well too. But yeah, I do want to thank everybody for all of the questions and donations today. Glad we were able to get up and do a flyover right after the following day after the flight. So really cool to be able to see images from the launch site right after. So tons going on, lots of stuff coming up. Hopefully, if there is a post-flight investigation for the booster, hopefully that goes rather quickly and they may already know the answer to what caused that. So it's been a while since one of those investigations has really become a factor in causing delays. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time. But yeah, want to thank everybody. Thanks to Ryan, BJ, and Alex for being on the show with me, and obviously Indy for running the show and handling questions and donations, and Mauricio for getting up there to take these shots. And if you guys haven't already, I can't remember if we had any gifted donation or gifted memberships in this one or not, but if you did receive a gifted membership or are a new member, then make sure to take advantage of that and download the images from this week, because we do have, like I said, two Flyovers in a row plus the ground images. So lots of awesome stuff for you to look at on your own if you happen to want to see stuff that we didn't have a chance to get into today. That's the best way to do that, or wait for the Tuesday show, either way. But yeah, thank you to everybody again, and I will go ahead and pass this off to Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today. I know a lot of cool things after Flight 13. A lot of interesting stuff to look at the pad, how good condition it is, and all the other sites are around Starbase. So be excited to see another flyover in the coming week or so. So yeah, pass it along.
I'll take it. Thanks everyone for joining us. Yeah, I mean, nice long show talking about the launch, talking about all the great images we got and all the things happening. And yeah, we're going to see lots of good stuff coming here as vehicle production continues to ramp up and give us that monthly cadence or better, or whatever it ends up being. And really looking forward to those first catches.
Thank you all for sticking around to the end. Thank you, Ryan and BJ and Zach, and Mauricio, obviously, and off to you, Indy.
As always, we want to thank everybody for joining us on stream and in chat. We are probably going to do a drive-by this Tuesday early afternoon, so keep an eye out in the Patreon channels for the live stream as well as the times. And then we always have Starbase Expanded Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Central Time. Other than that, in the immortal words of Matt, love, peace, and chopstick rail grease. See you guys.